Pivot swivels 360 degrees. Just connect to the spigot and watch it pivot. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking back to a pocket-size hose. And it makes it easy to carry and put away. Call or go online now to get the super light 25-foot pocket hose Copperhead today for only $29.99. Order right now and get our 10-pattern thumb drive spray nozzle free. Simply use your thumb to turn it on or off. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. So call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. Order now.
Ahead on American Sunrise Early Edition, a new week begins in America, in a new America. You saw it everywhere this past weekend. Charlie Kirk's assassination has changed the attitudes of millions of Americans who lowered flags to half-staff, attended vigils, and have now vowed to never give up the fight to getting America back on track. Job number 1 is bringing his killer and anyone who may have helped him to justice. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is apparently not cooperating with the investigation, but others in his orbit are, and that may be all that's needed. Another focus right now is identifying the many people in sensitive jobs like teachers, doctors, soldiers, and other government employees who have publicly celebrated Charlie Kirk's death on social media. Many of them have been fired, but the list of offenders is disturbingly long. In other news, Memphis is next. President Trump will send the National Guard to that city, and this time, the local leaders are welcoming the move right away. In New York, Governor Kathy Hochul decides to endorse Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City. Could that change next year's governor's race? American Sunrise Early Edition begins now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, the show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Your good deeds and bad deeds, that's how we're going to judge you.
Join host Jake Novak as he breaks down the stories that matter.
We will be letting the public know regularly what we have found.
American Sunrise Early Edition with your host, Jake Novak, starts now.
Good morning and welcome to this Monday here on American Sunrise Early Edition. And it just feels different in America, doesn't it? As we begin this new week, the week in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, but also in the wake of a tremendous outpouring of peaceful, underlined peaceful response to his death. So many people all over the country, including here in New York and so many other places in the country, coming out for vigils and doing more than that, vowing to stand up and to continue the efforts that Charlie Kirk dedicated his life to. Joining us now is Gerard Filitti. He is the senior counsel at the Lawfare Project. And Gerard, let's talk about the numerous people getting fired, and a lot of them are government workers. In fact, a disturbingly large number of them are teachers who are getting fired for publicly celebrating. This isn't a private comment. They're not getting censored or going after, people aren't going after them because of things they said privately. These are people who proudly posted in very public forums their celebrations of the death of Charlie Kirk. You know the legal stuff. You know what's going to happen, Gerard. They're going to sue over this. How's that going to go? And what's your take on that overall?
Of course, they're going to sue for their disgusting conduct that rightly gets them fired. Celebrating murder is not protected conduct. It's not something that's discriminatory when you get fired for that. Celebrating murder is something that is intrinsically so disturbing that it creates an environment at the workplace that you don't want to work with those people. So of course these teachers, these government workers, everyone else who's posting horrific things gets fired, and it's justifiably so. I don't see most of these lawsuits going anywhere. Of course the unions are going to fight this, but at the end of the day, when you're celebrating a homicide, that's not an employee. No one wants to work next to that person.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think it's amazing how many teachers are involved. And by the way, this has been citizen journalism that's been uncovering this. But again, I use the word uncovering advisedly. These are people who posted this stuff publicly. Remember that. Remember that these people aren't being hounded. People aren't knocking on their door trying to ask what they think. These people are doing it very publicly and proudly. Gerard, now let's talk about the legal case against the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson. Again, I say alleged because apparently he's been clamming up and not talking to investigators at all. But I want to talk about not only the case against him, but the entities and people who may have aided him. This may not be the act of just one person. How much you can go after people who may have influenced him online. Again, we might use terrorism and organizations like ISIS as a template for this. But how do you expect to see this to go from a legal standpoint from here on in?
From a legal standpoint, for him, it's fairly straightforward. The police is going to use the investigative tools that they have, the forensic evidence. They're going to track his movements, track his fingerprints. They're going to position him in such a way that it will be clear that he committed this act. So for him, it's straightforward. But for co-conspirators, that's where it gets tricky. We have a lot of rumors and speculation that there were more people that may have been involved and supported him, and law enforcement is tracking all those down. Ultimately, to get a conviction, you need to show that they shared the intent, that they had the awareness that this kid was going to assassinate Kirk, and they were helping to further that goal. And that's a very high threshold. So the best chance that the government has actually is a terrorism case where they're looking at this as a broader conspiracy against rights, a broader conspiracy against the civil rights of Charlie Kirk and other individuals. And that's the way that they go after whoever may have been involved.
What about a civil lawsuit? What about the family of Charlie Kirk or other foundations suing, let's say, the Discord, so I guess you could call it a social media platform, or the Discord website, or any other organization that may have encouraged this? Does that have more traction?
It may. It's hard to go after social media platforms. There's pretty much a good case law for them that says that they can't be held responsible for the content that's posted online without their active involvement. So a suit against Discord might not go anywhere unless you're alleging that they were actually actively involved. Now, it will be much more different if they go after people who incited this kid, who shared the motivation, who taught him how to hate, who basically gave him a loaded gun, metaphorically speaking, and pointed him in the direction of Charlie Kirk. Then you do have a better chance of seeing at least this go forward with litigation and interesting discovery to see all the communications, who was involved, the wide extent of this network of indoctrination and radicalization that led to this assassination.
Gerard, there's also a concerted effort by some groups and some people who call themselves journalists to try to flood the zone with confusing information about Tyler Robinson. But as the New York Post reported, we do have evidence that does seem to make it clear what the motive was in this case, or the fact that this person was involved with far leftist groups. The fact that this Tyler Robinson came from a Republican family is something that some, again, I think very dishonest, and either that or just people who aren't really that smart are seizing on in the hopes of making it sound like this was some kind of either right-wing person who did it, which is outrageous, or someone who was checking a lot of boxes. It actually reminds me in a lot of ways, in a sickening way, of Holocaust denial. You know, when you hear Holocaust denials, they often say things like, well, the Nazis didn't do it, but I'm glad they did. I mean, in other words, they're saying he's not a leftist, but the leftists, I'm glad that they did it. I mean, this is just so annoying. I don't know how you approach this. Is it just noise? Can you just move past this? Or is there something that needs to be done from a messaging or maybe even legal standpoint to make it clear? And will we find out the clear intentions of this person, at least because he's alive and didn't die as they were pursuing him?
Look, I think it's disgusting what they're doing, but there's also a good element of victim blaming. You're putting light on Charlie Kirk in a bad way and trying to justify it. And this is what we're seeing when we started the segment with social media, with people posting that it's a good thing that he died. This is how disgusting the far left has gotten. Ultimately, I think with this kid, what you're looking at, this seems to be a normal middle-class kid who had a decent upbringing. And the real question is, how was he radicalized? How was he influenced into this extremism that he changed his views, he changed how he was brought up and committed these horrific acts? That's the real question that we need to look at. The teachers that are posting this stuff on social media, they're the ones who teach kids. They're the ones who are indoctrinating these values. What was his exposure on social media? What were all the different factors that shaped a normal middle-class kid, by all accounts, with a normal middle-class upbringing, into becoming someone who commits an act of political violence? That's where we go from here. That's what we need to uncover and root out.
talking about rooting things out and getting ducks in a row, it doesn't seem to me like the governor of Utah helped anything yesterday. I think he went on CNN. He went on one of the mainstream media outlets and talked about how Charlie Kirk said some things that were very inflammatory. I mean, honestly, why would he say something like that? To me, that undermines the case against this guy. I mean, I like that the governor said they're going to pursue the death penalty in this case, but the guy who seemed like he was going to be some kind of a media star has already started to sound like he's hurting the case. That didn't help, did it?
I don't think it hurt the case any. To be fair, you can actually criticize people without killing them. I think that's what the governor was trying to get at, that even if you don't like what someone says, that's not an excuse for committing an act of political violence, of committing an act of assassination. So it may not have been the best thing to say, but on the other hand, I don't think it hurts the case. It just really shows that in America, we can have disagreements. We don't need to love someone unconditionally. We can have feelings about them, but way short of committing an act of homicide. And I think that's what makes it troubling. Kids have forgotten how to balance their emotions with their feelings, with reality. They commit acts without thinking that this is not the appropriate thing to do. So even if you don't like what someone says, you don't go out and kill them. The governor could have made the point better, but I don't think it hurts the case.
Yeah, at least better messaging. Gerard, another key issue and a legal issue as well is President Trump's move to send National Guard troops to Memphis right now. I know this is a different issue. However, I do think this is a case of what we're talking about here is responding to problems that have long been festering. And we're talking about these long festering problems of kids being radicalized by their teachers and by the news media. This is a crime situation as well. Have you at the Lawfare Project been dealing with any issues here involved with the National Guard deployment to D.C. and other issues similar to that? Because it just feels like a new America this morning. Obviously, this started a few weeks ago with the National Guard, but there seems to be more of a realization on the side of the right and also moderates that some new approaches need to be taken to a real festering problem in America, both mentally and on the streets.
Across America, whether it's D.C., New York, Chicago, or Memphis, we've seen the consequences of progressive policies. Progressive policing and prosecutions meant that crime has skyrocketed, and authorities are not doing anything about it. We support the use of the National Guard to quell the protests and the riots that have taken place on city streets, and quite frankly, to help law enforcement do their jobs. This is very much necessary. It's within President Trump's authority to do so legally. Despite some bad court rulings in California, which are likely to be reversed on appeal, I think there's clear precedent for the president's authority to do this, and it's having an impact. Look at D.C. Look how even the mayor in Washington, D.C. has said that his deployment of National Guard has made a big difference. So President Trump is seizing this problem head on. He's doing what the local authorities are failing to do, which is mobilize and take action against crime.
Yeah, I think that benevolent sitting back and expecting these things to get better, that's ended in America. So many millions of Americans, I think, learned that lesson in the last few days. Doesn't mean you have to get violent, of course. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking, though, about addressing issues head on. Gerard Filitti from the Lawfare Project, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I want to alert the viewers to something very special here on Real America's Voice coming up at noon. Some of you may have heard this, but I'm going to make sure you know about it now. At noon, Vice President J.D. Vance from the White House will be doing, live here on Real America's Voice, the Charlie Kirk Show. He will be hosting in Charlie's absence, of course. There probably will be a lot of other very special hosts over the next few weeks, but this time it's going to be Vice President J.D. Vance, and you can see that right here on Real America's Voice starting at noon. Also, coming up, I have some other news for you. This could get really awkward. What will Jerome Powell do later this week if and when fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook tries to join the Fed meeting on interest rates? That meeting starts tomorrow. Does he know a good bouncer? And then, getting back to the Charlie Kirk story, what will happen to the on-campus conservative movement that Charlie Kirk created? Will universities even allow someone to try to take his place? Emily Finn and I will discuss that when American Sunrise Early Edition continues.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's Anti-Kibble Breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable power plant, smart pressure sensor, and custom nozzles. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Get your complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for just $79.99 and get free shipping. Plus, we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. This is Monday. I'm Jake Novak. Don't forget, again, as I mentioned just before the break, Vice President J.D. Vance will be hosting a special edition of the Charlie Kirk Show. It's going to be live from the White House. You'll see it here on Real America's Voice at noon. Please don't miss it. I think there's going to be a lot of special guest hosts over the coming weeks. That's just my guess. But this is pretty special right here, Vice President J.D. Vance. So that'll be right here on Real America's Voice. Joining us now is Real America's Voice contributor Emily Finn. And Emily, even the mainstream media, as you see here in an article I'm going to show you from the AP, realizes that Charlie Kirk succeeded in in getting so many young college-age people to either become conservatives or Trump voters, or just not being liberals. Now, of course, the article, you don't need to read it. It misconstrues a lot of where Charlie was coming from. But my point is, by pointing to the article about how they knew that he was very, very effective. Well, it wasn't just the AP, Emily. We know that the Democrats saw what Charlie Kirk was doing over the years and tried to create their own Charlie Kirk. I think the best example of that, or there are no good examples, is David Hogg. You might remember him. Now, he was one of the survivors, apparently. There's a lot of questions about how close he was to the actual shooter, but let's just say we know he was technically a survivor of the Parkland high school shooting in Florida years ago. He then went on to Harvard. They tried to make him a big official in the Democratic National Committee, and then they ousted him anyway. He was very ineffective in many, many ways. But, Emily, I mean, these cheap imitations, it just goes to show that you can't copy an original.
You certainly can't copy Charlie Kirk. There was only one. He was extraordinarily unique, and the things that he was able to do, the impact that he was able to make in such a short amount of time, it is a shame that he was taken from us so soon. He would have done such incredible things for this country. But I must say, kind of in defense of David Hogg a little bit here, the headlines I've been seeing about him recently, I think the DNC doesn't like him because he has a brain. He was pushing back and saying that he wants to get rid of the old generations of Democrats, the old party leadership, rid them out and make room for younger generations to come in with new ideas. That's why they didn't like him. I recently saw a headline where he responded to everything that happened with Charlie Kirk and the impact and the fallout of that. And he said that he's exhausted at this point in America, wasn't celebrating it. That should not be the standard. The standard, should be that you're not celebrating it. But we've seen so much of that on social media. So at least he has a different perspective. And like Charlie Kirk, is strong enough to stand up for what he believes in, even if the party surrounding him and the people that are supporting him would pull their support away and not want to back him anymore. Like you said, Jake, Charlie isn't original. There is only one Charlie Kirk. But I think that this moment is going to be so crucial for young people, especially in Gen Z, to rise up, get involved in politics. And truly, it doesn't matter if you're involved in the conservative movement or not. Whatever it is, making your voice heard and having those conversations in a peaceful way. I hope that's the legacy that Charlie leaves behind, because we need so much more of that in this country.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't have to be whether you're going to go vote or be a political activist, but just not being programmed in this way. I mean, we have had 20 years at least of our children in our schools being told that the world's going to end tomorrow because mommy and daddy are driving an SUV. What did people think was going to happen to that generation emotionally, being told that in school week after week, let alone some of the other stuff that they're told? I see someone like David Hogg as someone who's been programmed from the beginning. Maybe, I'll share some of your optimism. Maybe he's actually going to have an awakening of his own. I'm not expecting him to become a conservative, and we don't need that. But what I do expect is that maybe there's a chance he'll start to realize how manipulated he's been from the beginning. I assume he's still reeling from that. Of course, another reason why they pushed him out, Emily, is because he's a white male, and they needed to have some quote-unquote diversity at the DNC. But you get the point. Emily, any thoughts about... But listen, this is a challenge also for Republicans, though, not being able to copy the original of Charlie Kirk. Maybe it isn't trying to get another leader like this, one person, but more groups where people just in the grassroots don't feel like they have to take on that massive legacy on their own of a Charlie Kirk. Just show up to a couple of things and let things snowball from there.
Well, that's what I think was so cool about Turning Point USA to begin with, Jake. I had an opportunity very early on, about 5 years ago. I was an ambassador for the organization. I went and I spoke at some of their events. What Charlie did was give a voice to people who felt like they were silenced, like they had no place in political discourse. He gave a voice to those people, and it continued to grow and grow and grow from the time that he was 18 and he founded this organization to the point that he was horrifically assassinated. And so I don't think that movement, with his voice being silenced, it's just going to let all of these other young people rise up and have their voices be amplified. I think that's going to be the only thing moving forward. There is no one to replace Charlie Kirk, but we all replace Charlie Kirk with our rise up together in the movement.
Yeah. And there's plenty of opportunity with today's technology to make your voice heard. Emily Finn, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on American Sunrise between 8 and 10 a.m. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, when inflation jumps, when you hear that the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just for sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes every American should own physical gold. And so they created something special. Until September 30th, if you are a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, request an info kit now. Just text America to 989898. Plus, Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you are still eligible for a rebate in free metals of up to $10,000. Birch Gold is the only precious metals company I trust, as do their tens of thousands of customers. So make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate of up to $10,000 when you buy by September 30th. Text America to 989898 3 times. Claim your eligibility and get your free info kit. Again, text America to 989898. Coming up, the bouncers at Studio 54 never had a dilemma like this one. What happens if fired Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook tries to show up at the Fed meeting this week? Get ready for a lot of hyperbole if she does. That story and Moving America are next.
If we've learned anything over the past few years, it's that devastating events can strike without warning. Global pandemics, acts of terror, and even bank collapses that can cause chaos in a matter of moments. And I just want you to be prepared. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and it's for these reasons that I strongly recommend a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has protected wealth through every kind of crisis. Birch Gold can show you how to move your retirement savings into an IRA in gold, legally and tax-free. For decades, they've helped thousands of Americans protect their IRA or 401k from unexpected events. To learn more, click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group, the only gold company I trust. Don't wait for the next crisis to strike. Take action now to protect your family's financial future. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can hack your information without you even knowing. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash protected. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from stealing your info. It's ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. With the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to fit your additional cards and cash. Call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-608-4172. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-4172 now.
It's a live look at the White House this morning. Usually I talk about the state of the flags and whether they're flying or not, and whether there's a breeze, but it's a different America this morning, isn't it? And the White House is going to be the locale for where we're going to be doing the Charlie Kirk Show live at noon today. J.D. Vance will be the guest host, and I will be here on Real America's Voice. You really, really don't want to miss it. And again, just stay right here and you won't. Let's take a look at where the markets will begin today. It's a different America, but commerce and our economy still move on, don't they? And it looks like we're going to have a higher open, a modestly higher open on the major indices. We see crude oil back down below $63 a barrel, and gold still very close to that $3,700 per ounce level. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, because it has been slowly and surely recovering. Here we are again now at $115,000 level. We got below 110 just a little while ago, but there we are now at 115. Hey, don't you hate it when you throw a party and you don't know how many people exactly are going to be showing up? Well, tomorrow is the big day when the Fed Open Committee, it's called the Open Market Committee, by the way, that's the committee that gets together to vote on interest rates. They're most likely going to decide to cut interest rates. That drama really not that high. We kind of know that's going to happen. The drama is, what if Lisa Cook shows up and asks Jerome Powell over here, hey, my firing has been upheld for now. You got to let me in on this meeting. I demand to show up. And if she shows up with a camera crew, don't be surprised. That meeting is tomorrow. It's a 2-day meeting. There'll be 2 days to decide this. I don't know how this is going to go. This could be a very, very embarrassing. It could be just very disturbing and distracting. We'll see what happens. Again, both the Trump administration and Lisa Cook's lawyers are asking for a quick resolution from the courts to get this decided by tomorrow, so we don't have this kind of awkward situation. But don't count on it. I think the courts can move quickly sometimes. I don't know how motivated they are to do it in this case. This could rattle the markets and hurt the economy, though. They need to make this decision. All right, I'm confused here about this next story, so I'll tell you, and maybe you can explain it to me. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau has just expressed regret. In other words, he's kind of apologized to the South Korean government over that recent detention and deportation. They'll call it deportation. I guess they sent them back. It's not officially a deportation of the hundreds of illegal alien South Korean workers who were working at that Hyundai plant in Georgia that was raided by ICE. Now, I don't understand why we're apologizing to South Korea over this, Secretary Landau. South Korea brought in these people, promised to hire Americans. Instead, they brought in these people and they didn't bother to even get their paperwork straight. I mean, at least do that. I'm not sure why we're saying we're sorry to South Korea over that. But hey, I'm not an appointed diplomat of the U.S. government, so maybe he got orders to do it. I don't know, but that did not seem like the best move. Okay, here's a new and interesting challenge to AI, and it's coming from the parent company of Rolling Stone magazine and The Hollywood Reporter. It's called Penske Media. That's the company that owns those two entities. It's filed an antitrust lawsuit against Google. in a federal court. It says that the Google AI search content basically steals the content that's in Rolling Stone and Hollywood Reporter, both current and past, and doesn't give it any attribution. And it's hurting its own internet search traffic. Now, the judge that they filed this case, who's going to hear this case, is the same judge who ruled that Google is indeed a monopoly. That's good news. But the bad news is that same judge just basically decided on a very soft punishment for Google earlier this month. You might remember when that happened earlier this month, and I reported on it here. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Of course, Google, as I've often said, is basically the only real publishing company in the world right now that is getting challenged by other AI companies. So we'll see if that continues. But right now, even though there's a lot of great other search engines out there, sadly, Google has such a dominant market share that if you and your content isn't prominently shown in a Google search, you might as well not exist. It's that difficult right now. I don't understand how this company has not been broken up. I guess they have really, really good lawyers and they make a lot of donations. That's pretty much the only explanation I have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. This is Moving America, sponsored by Artillery Tea Company. ArtilleryTeaCo.com. Use promo code LIBERTY for 20% off your order. Artillery Tea is all natural, whole leaf. The tea bags are chemical-free, and each tea bag can be used twice. Artillery Tea Company is family and veteran-owned and operated, and a portion of your purchase goes to help veteran and first responder charities. ArtilleryTeaCo.com, promo code LIBERTY for 20% off your order. Dodge Ram confirms its full-size electric truck project is now officially dead. It has discontinued development of its full-size electric pickup. It was going to be called the REV. Instead of the Ram, it was going to be called the REV. But Dodge says it's still going ahead with its plug-in hybrid Ram truck, and now they will rename that. That was supposed to be called the Ram Charger. Now that will be called the REV or the REV. Good luck with that. I don't really know how these hybrids and EV trucks are going over in the market. Well, I do know the demand is falling. They'll probably do a little bit better with the hybrid, but not that much better. Ram should just move on, but that's my opinion. Bad news on the auto loan front. I gave you some of this bad news a few weeks ago, but it's getting worse. Auto loan delinquencies are spiraling. The nation now owes a staggering, listen to this, $1.66 trillion in auto loans outstanding. Now, here's a few additional pieces of info. Car buyers with above average credit scores, these are the people with above average credit scores, are twice as likely to fall behind on payments as they were before the COVID pandemic. Now, that's not just because of what the pandemic did to and the lockdowns did to our job market. It's also because prices of those cars and trucks have gone up since then. Younger buyers are hitting the payment, really getting hit really hard. Very high numbers for younger buyers, by the way. And the repossession rate across all age groups jumped by 43% between 2022 and 2024. That's according to Cox data. This is a serious problem. It reminds me of the subprime home loan problem that we saw in 2006 and 2007, 2008. You know how that turned out. Got to find a way to get these car prices lower or do something else about it. This is a tough situation for the American people. Here's something that's even scarier. There are growing reports of EV fire dangers being made worse by those electronic door panels where you just touch it and it's flushed with the car door. Well, here's the problem. When a car loses its power and the battery goes to zero, sometimes they don't work and they can trap you inside a car when they're burning. Again, now there have been a number of reports about this. This is not just for Teslas and Cybertrucks. It's also happening in Ford Mustang EVs, Nissan Leafs, other cars like that. It's been reported all over the world. China is doing something about this. The government in China is working on a ban of these flush door handle things where you have to have power for them to work. They are saying that you need to have some kind of manual door opening device. We'll see if the American regulators follow suit. It looks cool, I get it, but if you can't get out of a car when it's burning, well, you know what that's all about. A report in the journal Autocar last week caused a big stir in Germany. It said that Mercedes-Benz was considering using BMW four-cylinder engines in several of their models. Now, the reason why this caused a big stir isn't because it's like Reese's, chocolate and peanut butter. People weren't that upset about BMW engines going into the car just from a technical standpoint. They were upset because this, to them, and they're probably right, meant consolidation. If BMW engines are being used in Mercedes cars, well, you know what that happens to jobs. That means there's fewer people who need to be working on Mercedes engines. The auto job situation in Germany now is a very, very controversial issue. There's been consolidation for the first time in Germany. Some of the German automakers have closed factories overseas before, but last year a Volkswagen factory closed in Germany. That's the first time that's ever happened inside of Germany. There is real fear now in Germany about auto workers losing their jobs. Maybe they should read up about what happened here in America in the 1970s, because we've been suffering with that for 50 years. Anyway, this is what's going on in Germany right now. Coming up, time to check in again on the big election in Virginia. The polls are moving again, and early voting begins this coming Friday. And how will the changes in America in response to the death of Charlie Kirk affect that race? I think that there's one issue that could actually become a big one in Virginia, stemming from the tragic assassination, the atrocity of Charlie Kirk, of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. American Sunrise Early Edition. We'll be right back.
Messes happen every day in every way, but who wants to drag out a bulky vacuum? Introducing Horsepower Duck, a super compact vac with ultra-powerful suction. Watch as it effortlessly crushes this large bottle. This is a small but mighty duck, making it quick and easy to clean any mess. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places. It's smaller than a water bottle, so store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again.
I used to have to drag out this huge thing they call a portable vacuum cleaner. Now I keep the duck in my kitchen drawer and I clean up messes in 2 seconds.
The turbocharged motor is engineered to create a powerful vortex of suction, while the HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. We attach the duck to this tube, and the powerful suction lifts the water all the way to the top. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even sawdust and screws in the workshop. Plus, it's rechargeable. Got messy pets? Duck powerfully picks up pet hair from anywhere and cleans around that dish in a flash. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car vac. Clean seats, the floor, and deep into those hard-to-reach places. Other bulky hand vacs sell for up to $150, but get the Horsepower Duck hand vac for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package, a $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube to get into tough spots like under appliances, the crevice nozzle to reach into those quacks and crevices, and the soft brush nozzle to vacuum gently with no scratches. You'll get the Duck with all the deluxe attachments, but supplies are limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low price. So don't delay. Duck it up today.
To order, call 1-800-692-0144 or visit duckvac.com. So call 1-800-692-0144 or visit duckvac.com. Order now.
It's Monday, September 15th. Here are today's top stories. A new week begins in America. You saw it everywhere. It's a different America. Charlie Kirk's assassination has changed the attitudes of millions of Americans who lowered flags to half-staff, attended vigils, and have now vowed to never give up the fight to getting America back on track. Job number 1 is bringing his killer and anyone who may have helped him to justice. The 22-year-old trigger man is apparently not cooperating with the investigation, but others in his orbit are, and maybe that's all that's needed for now. Now, how will voters respond? Will the changes in America since last week shake up the big races in New Jersey and Virginia coming up in just about a month and a half? And in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul decides to endorse Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City. Could that change next year's governor's race in the Big Apple? American Sunrise Early Edition continues now. Welcome back again. As I said at the beginning of this program, and I continue to say, it feels like a different America this Monday, doesn't it? In the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination, the way that people have been responding, peacefully, I should say, at least the people who have learned the right lesson from this incident, that's for sure. And you just have to wonder how this is going to change maybe if it's just the tone for a few days, that's not really worth noting. If it changes the way people act and understand how things really are right now politically and culturally in this country, then I think we're going to have a changed America for more than just the next few days. Joining us now is Virginia Republican Lieutenant Governor candidate John Reid. He checks in with us every couple of weeks to tell us about how things have been going in Virginia. I've been trying to bang the table about this election in Virginia and how important it is for a lot of reasons. Thankfully, since I started doing that, although it's not because of me, the polls have tightened. And I believe that, John, you've got a lead in the polls right now over your opponent. But I have to ask you first, before we get into the nitty-gritty of your campaign, how was it campaigning this weekend with the change in this country since Charlie Kirk's death? I'm sure you felt it. It must have been palatable.
Yeah, I was all over the state today in some blue areas, some Democrat strongholds, and in some really, really red Republican areas. And everybody knows what happened here. It was revelatory. A lot of people saying, hey, watch your back, be careful. So I think there's been this awakening amongst people who aren't regularly following politics that things have deteriorated in the country. You know, it's easy to get caught up with taking your kids to soccer and making sure you pay your bills and not pay close attention to the body politic. But something is corrupt here. And I will be so bold as to say that it's not Republicans like Charlie Kirk who want to sit and discuss and debate issues. It's people who want to take vengeance against their political enemies. And I think that it is reasonable to make the list of attacks and vitriol, and it has a D behind its name, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of that in a second about the people who've been publicly celebrating. But John, I want to talk about this particular to Virginia, because this is something that I think has been festering in the country. We saw this in Minneapolis. We keep seeing, and we saw it in Nashville. We've seen it in so many other places. I think the fact that the alleged shooter, based on good reporting, because there's been some lousy and dishonest reporting, but the good reporting out of this case is telling us that the alleged shooter in this case had a partner who was going through the trans process, that maybe something was written on the shell casings, and et cetera, et cetera. And when you talk transgender and you talk about politics, you know, Virginia has been for a while ground zero in that debate, starting in 2021 with Loudoun County. I don't expect you to try to take advantage of this situation, but you will be talking to voters today and throughout the rest of the campaign who are very, very familiar with the issues surrounding the transgender. I don't even call it a movement. I think it's just a cynical use of this issue by Democrat politicians to get people fired up. And in this case, they got someone very fired up. Virginia knows a lot about this, doesn't it?
Yeah, this has been ground zero. You know, 4 years ago, Glenn Youngkin was elected governor primarily because a biological boy pretended to be a girl and went and raped a girl. The school system then moved him to another school, and he did it again. Then they tried to cover it up, and the Democrats never acknowledged what was going on. That's why Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, got elected governor here. Now, I'm in a unique situation as the first openly gay candidate from either party, Republican or Democrat, to be running statewide. And one of the things that motivated me to run is to tell the truth about this. The trans movement is not a healthy movement. It is not good. It is not normal. And we are making a huge mistake culturally by mainstreaming this. And to your point, Jake, I think the Democrats are exploiting this issue because they needed a new civil rights movement that they could sucker people into becoming a part of. And I have standing to talk about this issue. I have been talking about it for years, and in the last year on the campaign trail. And I think what we're seeing with this violence, which is very different from any other civil rights movement that we've witnessed, at least in my lifetime, is that Virginians are going to reject this kind of attitude. It doesn't make sense to structure your society around something that's not factually true, and it's culturally corrosive. And I have to tell you, I think that's why the Democrats are doing this. They're trying to weaken the structure of the society so they can replace it with something that they want, namely a socialist society.
Yeah, well, I mean, civil rights movement is one thing, but it feels like they're building an army of malcontents. I mean, these people are radicalized. They're very, very disturbed in many cases. And again, with children and young people, this is again, even in Europe, and they're not right wingers in Europe. Even in Europe, they have banned this kind of ideology, and more importantly, they have banned the chemical and surgical, quote, treatment, I hate using that word, on minors. This is what happens. They've created a violent class. John, one of the donors to your opponent, Ghazala Hashmi, is one of the people who publicly celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. They're trying to scrub their association with that donor. But, I have to tell you, and I know you know already, there's going to be a lot more cases like this between Hashmi and Abigail Spanberger, who's at the top of the ticket running for governor. I'm gonna guess there's going to be more than a dozen of their donors or people close to them who are going to get caught having done this.
Yeah, the donor list is extraordinary. The person who defended Ghazala Hashmi, my Democrat opponent, when she, as chair of the Senate Committee on Education, was supposedly having a hearing about protecting students on campus. One would have thought it would have been the Jewish students who were constantly attacked on Virginia's campuses, but instead she excluded all the Jews. Guess who rushed to her defense? The same woman who gave money to the campaign, the same woman who is now having to resign from the school board because she celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. I'll tell you, this is revealing because the Democrats have done a pretty good job of pretending to be mainstream, normal, thoughtful people. And this has revealed that a lot of the activists and a lot of the elected officials and the people who are seeking office are anything but. They are radical. They're masquerading as moderates. And they're moments that reveal who we all are. And this assassination and what has occurred afterwards has revealed that a lot of these Virginia Democrats are not the moderates they're claiming. And I'm hoping that Virginia voters are paying attention and will make another choice, primarily choose Republicans like me who want to be reasonable and responsible and fair if they go to the Capitol in January.
Yeah, I don't think that Democrats understand how fatal this is going to be for their political careers, that so many of them so very publicly celebrated this assassination and this tragedy. Atrocity is really the better word for it. These are the same people who tried to make anyone who didn't make a huge statement against January 6th and try to end their political careers for that. This is an interesting situation. They were going to basically hoist them on their own petard. Finally, John, I saw the other day that Hashmi, your opponent for the lieutenant governor's race, posted that you want to shut down all public schools. I'm going to give you a free forum here to respond to that accusation.
Yeah, well, she made that assertion while she was in a secret press conference. I was a TV reporter for 10 years, and I've been in the media for almost 30 years. I'm unfamiliar with the concept of having secret press conferences where you have to RSVP to find out where it is. So this is a woman who doesn't want to campaign in public, but she's saying that I want to do something to hurt public education. My dad was a public school principal. My mother was a public school teacher. I'm just the only person who's got the guts to point out the truth. The system is not serving the students well. The current system of government schools is not taking care of families. And we need to come up with other options to give people the latitude to say the school across the street stinks and is terrible. I want to send my kids somewhere else. And Ghazala Hashmi has done everything she can in the years she's been in the Senate to shut down and stop options. I'm trying to create options. Look, if you've got a great public school in your neighborhood, that's amazing. Good for you. But we have to admit, if we're being honest, there are a lot of people who are stuck in places where the schools are terrible. And I want to create options for them to take some of the money they pay in taxes and go to a church school or go to a neighborhood school or hire tutors together with other families in the neighborhood. Why are we locking children into failing systems? Ghazala Hashmi is not looking out for the kids. She's looking out for the teachers' unions, and I'm going to hold her accountable for her failures over the last 6 years. And she can try to spin it any way she wants. She's not being honest.
Sadly, you could say that the theme of our discussion this morning has been child sacrifice, whether it's pushing children to get surgery or chemicals in their body, or basically allowing them to really die on the vine educationally in a school. It seems like people with political agendas since the time of the pagans till now are really into child sacrifice. I wish I could put it another way, but that's what it is. John Reid, thank you so much for joining us. I know that early voting starts on Friday, so we'll be checking back in with you as the campaign goes along. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I always appreciate it.
Coming up, other news keeps rolling on, but we're going to have to talk about it. New York Governor Kathy Hochul deciding to endorse Zohran Mamdani in a hand-wringing editorial talking about it. She's not fooling anyone, and maybe she just turned a blind eye to what's going on in America, especially since the Charlie Kirk assassination. David Brody and I will talk about that. An American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. Something shocking is happening with gold that the mainstream media won't report. Paper contracts for gold rarely result in physical delivery. But today, billionaires and major banks are demanding actual gold bars at 10 times the normal rate. Why the panic for physical gold? These institutional giants understand our $37 trillion debt means we're on a path to currency collapse. The good news, you can make the same move. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group lets you move your IRA or 401k into gold. To learn more, click below to get a free info kit on gold. Throughout history, gold has endured where currencies fail. Right now, the biggest players in the finance industry are proving this time won't be different. Click below for your free info kit from Birch Gold and diversify your savings now.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
That's a live look at the White House today. And of course, today the White House will be the spot where we will be going live here at Real America's Voice at noon. Very special program at noon. It'll be Vice President J.D. Vance hosting live, guest hosting the Charlie Kirk Show. I think there's going to be some interesting guest hosts over the coming weeks, but this is a pretty big one in the Vice President of the United States. Of course, you know, Vice President Vance and Charlie Kirk were very close. They had a lot of professional work together over the years. So this could be a very, very, very special show. I'm sure it will be. Joining me right now is David Brody. And David, we of course have other news today, but I don't think it's necessarily completely out of the context of the Charlie Kirk assassination and the changed America that we're in. I think if there's one person who has a tin ear, maybe the tinnest ear in all of politics I've ever seen, it's New York Governor Kathy Hochul. This is someone who has missed opportunities so many times in the last couple of years to improve her own popularity and, more importantly, govern better. Yesterday, of all days, she decides to come out with a decision to endorse Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York. Now, remember, Kathy Hochul's up for re-election next year. A lot of people think this will undermine her campaign in a big way. But, you know, if I were her, and again, I'm the unemployable political consultant. Remember, David, I give good advice, so that's why I don't work as a political consultant. You have to give bad advice to get hired in that job. I would have told her at least wait a few days, because right now there are so many Americans, including moderate Americans, who are pushing back on the kind of leftist extremism that Zohran Mamdani has been spouting since day one.
Yeah, the timing, obviously not great, but let's be honest, any sort of timing at this point would probably be bad for Hochul. As you know, she almost lost to Lee Zeldin. What did she get, like 53% of the vote the last time around? So, I mean, if she got 53% then, and look how much the tide has turned, especially in her state, in New York, then you endorse Mamdani, she could be in big trouble. It's interesting, the op-ed that she wrote. You know how normally you write op-eds where, like, I agree with this person on this position, on this position, on this position? Okay, so she started the op-ed with, he agrees with me on the police, cracking down on folks there on the subway, getting out of hand. Like, he agreed. And then I'm waiting for the next paragraph where he agreed. And it didn't happen. Instead, she started talking about combating anti-Semitism. And I'm waiting for, he agreed. No, he didn't. Then he went, so it just went down the list. I'm like, oh gosh, this is not good. So, but this is what every Democrat, if you think about it, obviously is going to be on the spot and face with, whether it be New York or otherwise. It's going to be every single Democrat around the country will have to talk about or decide, are you with Mamdani or not? And that puts the Democrats in a big time bind.
Yeah, we just have like 30 seconds left. But David, I'm just wondering, again, I keep saying throughout this program, it feels like a changed America this morning. I wonder if you're feeling the same thing and whether you think 100%. It will endure.
100%. I wish I had about 7.5 minutes to talk about this. Will it endure? It'll endure on the conservative side, and I say the conservative side, the biblical truth side. That's the truth of the matter. I don't believe that unity is possible when you have two different divergent worldviews and two different spiritual outlooks. So that's how I truly feel about it.
Yeah, but notice the huge outpouring included no violence, just vigils,
That's
prayer.
right. They wanted people to go into church instead. Isn't it interesting?
That's right. All right. Join us for American Sunrise. That's next. See you soon.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday.
It's a sad and somber day in America. We continue the breaking news coverage of the assassination, political assassination, of Turning Point USA founder and Rav's own Charlie Kirk. We started off this morning with a prayer, reminding each other how much we love each other. It's an important day to do that, isn't it?
David and Dr. Gina, if I may, like both of you, I've been thinking a whole lot over the last, say, 12 hours. And I'm resolved today to honor Charlie by continuing the work he's doing, by being a beacon, hopefully, of light, by allowing God's light to shine through me. Lord, please shine through me. And more important, by focusing on what makes this country great and trying to speak truth and encourage our fellow Americans to be better, to do better, and to live better. Everybody was talking about Charlie and loving America and the Constitution, all that, and that's all true, but he never buried the lead, and that was Jesus.
Yeah.
And, he led with Jesus and he ended with Jesus. And that's what made him unique. And from the book of John, and we're going to get to the Bible verse in a second, but the book of John says this: if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. And he didn't belong to the world. He didn't belong to secularism. He didn't belong to world values. He belonged and he cared about biblical values and lived his life every single day like that. It's often said that what matters on a tombstone isn't the birth date or the passing date, but it's that dash in between. And I think it would be hard to argue that Charlie made the best of that dash. He truly created an entire new lane when it comes to young people's activism, and I think he'll be remembered for that. He made the most of his dash.
He did, and if I was to write an epitaph for him, it would be, stay enlightened and fight for what's right, and that's what he did.
I've interviewed Charlie. We've all interviewed Charlie quite a few times. Here's what he told me back in 2019, Eric. This is a quote. "The hatred we receive as Christians is biblical," is what he told me. "It's prophesied, and you shouldn't try to make excuses for it, no matter what we're going to be persecuted."
Yeah, he that's probably why he's not with us anymore. He was too effective. He was reaching young people. He was reaching millions and millions of young people. He just had a sense of what people wanted.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's anti-kibble breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you.
Ahead on American Sunrise, saying goodbye. A prayer vigil in our nation's capital after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We are going to be inside and take you to the reaction throughout the show. Plus, the aftermath. Is unity really possible after the Charlie Kirk murder? What will it take? We're going to ask a GOP congressman straight ahead. And keeping the faith. What can God's word teach us about how to stay strong in dark and tragic times? Bible history guy Jim Mosley here to break it down. We're going to have those stories and more as American Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics. President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C., and Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello, Gina. AT.
Dr. Gina and David, good morning. What a day it is. Obviously, David, we're still kind of reeling and feeling the effects of Charlie Kirk's assassination, you know, almost a week later, and it still stings, David and Dr. Gina.
Yeah. Well, since Charlie's death, Turning Point has received over 32,000 inquiries to start new chapters around the country. This is almost an unbelievable amount. We all saw his beautiful widow, our good friend in many of our cases, Erica, over the weekend, being about as brave as I can think of a widow possibly being who's trying to carry on with two children. David, it was very heartfelt.
It was unbelievable. One of the best speeches I've ever seen, honestly, from start to finish. You know, everybody talks about next man up. No. Next woman up. Next woman up. T-Base, go ahead.
And we're going to show you, you know, her courage and how she handled that momentarily. Also, in case you happen to miss it, there was a prayer vigil last night over at the Kennedy Center. Vice President J.D. Vance also will be hosting Charlie Kirk's show today. Speaker Mike Johnson, though, was among the others who spoke at the prayer vigil. It really was a who's who of Washington, D.C. I'm going to show you some of that coming up in news. But here's Speaker Johnson in his remarks.
The leaders of the nation have been shaken, as have university students and college students and young people all across the country. It's as if the ground was shifted beneath us. We all felt it deep, deep inside. And in spite of that, we remember that our dear friend Charlie would never want us to be overcome by despair. He would want exactly the opposite. You know, Charlie Kirk recruited and trained and educated a generation of happy warriors. And we do well to be reminded that the best way to honor his memory and to honor his unmatched legacy is to live as Charlie did. That's right.
And David and Dr. Gina, you mentioned Erica Kirk. Check out this emotional moment when she was beside her late husband's casket.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you so much. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
Dr. Gina, you have the floor. Dr. Gina.
Well, yeah. I just hate that, you know, it is very difficult, I'll just be very honest, to, you know, to process all of this. You know, I think a lot of us still aren't sleeping, which doesn't make the emotionality of it any better. So many of us can empathize. I mean, it's your worst fear. I remember my husband used to drive back and forth to the Capitol every single week, and I would think, what if, when it was my kids that were little, what if, what would I do? And, you know, you don't want to let those fears creep in, but how do you explain it? She talked about having to explain it to their 3-year-old Gigi, and it's just, it is so heartbreaking. And, I mean, go ahead, David. Yeah, I really have nothing. I will just ramble. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I didn't want to see it, and yet I had to see it. And I think the whole world needs to see it. And we have to sit with the discomfort. And it's hard. I mean, when that was posted, I was like, I don't know about that. And then I thought to myself, yeah, actually, it needs to be shown. It can be a healing process at some point, not maybe in the moment, but it is healing for some, and it's disturbing no matter how you see it, but you have to sit in the discomfort of it, because if there's not going to be change without getting uncomfortable. And I think that's part of the point here. And this also made me think about how evil is just so present in the world. And everybody, I'm sorry, T, I just want to say one thing. Everybody's asking, you know, what is it? What has happened? Why is the world, you know, South Korea and England and all what's happening here? Why is this taken off? And there's just so many reasons for it, but it's spiritual. I think we got smacked in the face with evil. And I think people are like, wait, what in the world? There's really evil in the world. We always say there's evil on the world, but it's just words on paper until you actually see the video of what we saw that we cannot unsee. And I think that's what that is. I think that's part of it. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, you know what? We'll be talking much more about this over the next couple of hours, so I will hold my thoughts for that. Dr. Gina, would you give us our Bible verse, please?
Today's Bible verse is from John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, is saying her husband's movement will grow stronger from all of this. Take a listen.
Evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea.
For more, let's bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, I don't even know where to start with this. I think that so many of us are processing this so personally. And I think one thing that I want to say, because I'm sure you are feeling some of this too, is that it's so important to understand that everybody's grief is different, that it comes in waves, that it comes in phases. What are you seeing? What are you feeling, Congressman?
Well, I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I'm also energized. We met with, when I got back home this weekend, one of the first things I did was to meet with our local chapter of Turning Point. There were about 35 students who showed up, and their parents came to a gymnasium, and we just talked and we prayed, and I listened to what they were going through, and I wanted to encourage them. But something good is going to come out of this. And as strange as that's antithetical to the way the world thinks, but look, we live in a Romans 12 world. I try to do in a transformed life, being countercultural. That's what Charlie Kirk did. And he inspired, and I think through his death has inspired a whole nother generation, maybe some of those young men and women who were on the fence as to their faith in Jesus Christ. I think this is going to propel people forward to raise an army, not an army of violence, but an army of God to help win others to Christ Jesus. Charlie Kirk said that he wanted to be remembered for his courage, for his faith in Jesus Christ. He certainly will be. And I think God is raising up an army to fight for him. This is a spiritual battle. David, I've heard you talk about this. This is an Ephesians 6 moment. Get out your Bible, everyone, and read Ephesians 6. Put on the full armor of God, because our fight is not with people here on earth. It is principalities and of dark realms that are battling for our souls right now.
Congressman, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. That's exactly right. And you know, everybody's going to talk about Charlie Kirk and freedom and America and the Constitution. And of course, that is everything that he was fighting for here on earth. But ultimately, it is all about Jesus Christ. And that is what I think people are feeling. If you can easily just go search, everybody just go search on Google, and you'll see tons and tons of stories of people going to church for the first time because they heard what Charlie was talking about and eloquently stating the gospel message. That's what this is about. This is not, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to poo-poo America and Constitution and freedom. That's all part of it. But it's ultimately about getting people right with God, because this is a spiritual battle. And if we don't have we have the numbers, but we don't have the energized numbers. We don't have the mobilization numbers. We don't have the active numbers. People are sitting around. And they need to get active. You know, you wrote a piece in the Washington Examiner about you love to see unity, obviously, and you said this, Healing America, a call for unity amid tragedy. And of course, you're talking about people turning to God and rejecting the darkness, because ultimately, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm an optimistic guy, but I'm not quite sure how you can have unity in a world that has folks that do not see the Bible as the inerrant word of God and are evil because they're not turning to God. Look, you either belong to God or Satan. That's the truth. Either, in other words, this is a binary choice. Yeah. And it just is. And it's time to actually say that. I mean, you know, let's not pussyfoot around here. This is not a gray area. You're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And it's very hard when you have two polar opposite worldviews. I'm sorry, go ahead. I got on a spiritual soapbox.
No, David, I totally agree with you. And what I hear from you is what I feel in my spirit as well. And I think maybe millions of other Americans who have been sitting on the sidelines. I have not shared the gospel. I've been a Christian since I was a kid. And I don't know if we've helped people, we've shared the gospel, but I don't know if I've really been all I could be like Charlie. I want to be like Charlie.
Same here.
And I think we have unique positions. Mike Johnson is another one. Thank God we have him as Speaker of the House. I've been in contact with him all weekend. We prayed together Thursday before we left, a group of us. And our country is at a pivotal point. We have a president who wants the best for America. We want the best for Americans. We have a speaker who doesn't just care about our success on the House floor. He cares about the souls in that room, all 435 plus the staff. He is concerned about being citizenships of heaven and not just citizens of the United States of America. Yeah, that's what we were elected to do. But when you are a Christian, you realize that there's something more important, I dare say, than the Constitution of the United States, and that is the Holy Bible, in my opinion.
That's right.
And we've got to stand firm for what we believe.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think while we all do want to be like Charlie would say, he wanted to be like Jesus. Congressman Alford, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your call. And by the way, everybody, go check it out. It's at townhall.com by Congressman Mark Alford. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Congressman.
Coming up, we check out the hottest headlines from the RAV Newsroom with T. Bates. And later, the alleged suspect in connection to Charlie Kirk's assassination is not cooperating with investigators. What can officials further learn? We're going to take a look next on American Sunrise.
Thinking about travel? Think AMAC. AMAC members have access to special money-saving discounts on hotels, car rentals, cruises, and more, so you can save money on every adventure. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to saving money on travel and so much more, think AMAC.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
The White House here on a Monday, it continues to be somber. I think it's going to be somber for a while. We're on the mat, but we're getting up. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. Coming up, someone who's in jail and deserves to be there, the suspect, Tyler Robinson. There he is. We're going to discuss some of what potentially drove him to this, including this now confirmed detail that he was living with a man transitioning to be a female, transgender there. We'll talk about it. First, though, T. Bates standing by with the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice Newsroom, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Funeral arrangements for conservative activist Charlie Kirk are set this morning. The assassinated 31-year-old will be funeralized next Sunday, with the service being held at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. President Trump says he'll be on hand for the final goodbye. Next week's ceremony, by the way, reportedly being organized by Turning Point USA, which is the organization Kirk founded. We're also hearing several private memorial events are scheduled leading up to that funeral, including some in the nation's capital. Sunday, the who's who of Washington, D.C. came together to remember him at the Kennedy Center. The list of speakers included Congress members Anna Paulina Luna, Andy Biggs, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as well as Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard also took the microphone. But it was White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt who brought a message both from the White House and from her heart.
I would not be in this position if not for the heroic efforts of Charlie Kirk, who turned the political tide among young people in this country and helped usher in President Trump's historic victory on November 5th, 2024. President Trump's win in November was fueled in no small part by the tireless work of Charlie, the Turning Point organization that he built from scratch out of a garage, the true essence of the American dream.
And while much of conservative America is still coming to grips with the murder of Charlie Kirk, a new week and lots of news is upon us. The Fed scheduled to begin the first of a two-day policy meeting tomorrow. While all eyes will be on the meeting to see if the central bank will cut interest rates for the first time of the second Trump presidency, many will also be watching to see if Fed Governor Lisa Cook will be in attendance. You may remember President Trump tried to fire Cook amid an investigation into housing finance allegations against her. While a court has ruled that Cook can stay on the job, the Trump administration appealed that decision and could get an answer as soon as today. Also happening today, the Senate is expected to vote on President Trump's pick to fill an already vacant seat on the Fed board. If confirmed, Stephen Miran would become the newest Fed governor, likely giving President Trump a sympathetic voice in policy meetings. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'll, of course, have more headlines coming your way shortly, but now let's get a quick check of your coast-to-coast forecast from Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good to see you. Good morning.
Hey, good to see you too. Good morning. You know, from coast to coast, we have kind of had the same weather pattern for the last couple of days. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we are in a stalled out pattern with a ridge of high pressure across the Central Plains. So temperatures have been well above average, record-breaking heat for areas across the Central Plains. And then we've had a pretty active front range with several storm systems that push to the east and kind of get hung up right around that high pressure center. So you can see temperatures all the way up to the Twin Cities, 86 degrees, St. Louis, 94. I'm talking temperatures 10 to 18 degrees above average for this time of year, so very warm. And then there's a couple spots where we're tracking chances for rain. Want to take you out to the mid-Atlantic. This is where we're tracking a coastal low that's going to push on shore, and we're talking 3 to 5 inches of rain. So this is where they're going to be kind of inundated, and it's going to be soggy here for the next few days as this pattern kind of stalls out. And Terrence, we are tracking an area of interest in the Atlantic. So I know it's been pretty quiet here for hurricane season in the Atlantic, and we're just starting to have a few of these areas, so it's looking like we could be ramping up here soon.
All right, Tracy Anthony, we appreciate the reporting. We'll check in with you in about an hour or so. Thanks so much.
Sounds good.
Coming up, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Israel aiming to end the war between Israel and Hamas. So we'll have a live update for you as he's now wrapped up meetings there. All of that's coming up.
It's just like our new house.
Warranty! I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Clogged AC coils? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? Ta-da! If AHS can't fix your covered item, they'll replace it, no matter its age.
A warranty is smart.
Oh, a happy family.
Is that us?
Too much? American Home Shield. Sign up today at ahs.com.
If your flow doesn't go like it used to, if it's pee o'clock again, it could be an enlarged prostate blocking the way. The UroLift system is a minimally invasive, non-destructive treatment for men 45 and over that simply lifts the problem out of the way. Ask your urologist about the UroLift system. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. The UroLift system for rapid symptom relief.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
That whole setting works. The music, International Falls, Minnesota, God's majesty on display. And God is in control. God is in control of all events, despite some of the horrific scenes that we've seen over the last week. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. All right, so at the Kennedy Center prayer vigil for Charlie Kirk last night, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says his assassination is the textbook definition of terrorism. Take a look.
They feel that their only recourse is to commit an act of violence to silence those who oppose them and to intimidate and terrorize others into silence. This is the definition of terrorism. We cannot allow ourselves to be terrorized into silence. We need to live Charlie Kirk's example, the example that he set, that are captured by the words of Reverend Martin Luther King. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that.
All right, so for more, let's bring in retired U.S. Navy officer for the Office of Naval Intelligence. That'd be Lieutenant Steve Rogers. Steve, always good to see you. So in terms of the investigation, we now have confirmation that the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was living with a roommate who was transitioning from male to female. That's now confirmed. We're also now understanding that the suspect had a leftist ideology. That's no shock. What questions do you have going forward here? Good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning. Well, I want to know who else knew. I find it just hard to believe that this individual, this killer, went out and committed this horrendous act without any of his associates or friends knowing, especially his roommate. So that's something that is going to be very important for police to pursue, because my gut feelings tell me that there were some other people that knew this was coming.
Yeah,
Dr. Gina, can I jump in here real quickly? I'm sorry, but I'm glad you brought that up, because there were several things that the FBI brought up during its news conference that raised some huge red flags to anyone that can think and can critically look at a situation. The FBI said that there was communication they found on this site in which there was talk of, I left the gun here, and other people had these discussions with him, just even in general discussions. It seems to me that at that point there would be questions at minimum about potential accessory to a crime. I'm no law enforcement person, but I can think critically.
Well, you're absolutely right. And let me add this. My gut feeling also is that the FBI knows a lot more than what they're telling us, and I understand that. They don't want to compromise this investigation, so they're going to be pretty tight-lipped with regard to how far they have gotten and where they are headed. But once again, I'm looking at all this that's going on, all the information, all the evidence, and a lot of the work that they still have to do. There had to be a few people that at least knew about what was going on and just never took the time to make a phone call.
Yeah, and in fact, there were some details released along those lines this morning. Kash Patel said that they are questioning and are in contact with many of the people that were texting, I guess, on this gaming site. And that there were several people that should have been privy to the information. He said ahead of time that he was going to kill Charlie Kirk. And there is at least one person who who would have seen that text and should have known. And so it'll be up then to Pam Bondi at the DOJ if she wants to press charges. Anyway, we're also seeing reports that Robinson is not cooperating with investigators. He was taken into custody on Friday Him not cooperating, Steve, from your experience in situations as similar as you've been party to, what does this mean if he's not cooperating? Can you get enough information from those surrounding him, his family, his partner, the folks in this gaming site that he was texting with? He'd become very cut off. He was, obviously a genius, like a 4.0 GPA. And then went to college, didn't make it there, set up for an electrical apprenticeship, didn't make it there, was unemployed, was sitting literally in his basement, gaming and talking there and radicalizing. Steve, how much will we know?
Well, Dr. Gina, he's not cooperating now, but that doesn't say he will in the near future, because if the police go down a road and find enough evidence that they could charge this individual with being an accessory, well, there's your weak link. So when I remember sitting across the table from criminals, letting them know, look, you don't have to cooperate now, but when you're charged with a serious crime, you're going to do a lot of time. So it's going to be up to you to cooperate or do what you feel you got to do and see you behind bars. So the FBI and other law enforcement agencies are going to gather a lot of information that will finally point them into the direction of a weak link. Once they find that link, and there's always a weak link, you're going to see a domino effect, and bingo, they're going to find out what the motive was, they're going to find out who was involved, and I wouldn't be surprised if more people decided that may have been in a situation where they had knowledge where they're going to go to the police. That's what the father did. He knew he had to go, because if he didn't, he'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Good point. Hey, Steve, I got to make a hard turn to some other news real quick before we let you go. We've got Secretary of State Rubio, who's meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. As a matter of fact, they've already met. There's some pictures of the meeting. They've discussed the strike against Hamas leaders inside Qatar. They're discussing the hostage situation. What's this relationship like right now? I mean, the United States at least says publicly they were frustrated that Netanyahu would do this over in Qatar. Clearly, the United States sees the geopolitical issues here because they want Qatar as a friendly force there in the Middle East regarding the air base and many other issues as well.
Look, we have a friendly force, and that's Israel. I've said all along, and I agree with the Israeli government, you don't negotiate with terrorists. The fact of the matter is, I think what we're seeing is the President of the United States, Donald Trump, doing the best he could to kind of lower the temperature, make Qatar and other countries feel that, look, he's still working hard to be fair, but at the same time to make sure that Israel's secure. We're never going to turn our back on Israel. My guess is Marco Rubio and others are going to make it clear to the Prime Minister of Israel and others that we stand with you and we're not going anywhere.
That's good news for sure. All right, Steve Rogers, thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And by the way, one more quick thing. The Charlie Kirk assassination, what they started was a national revival to get this country back to God and country. I really believe that. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I'll tell you what, as everybody else believes, God has his hand in this somehow.
100%. We talked about that as well at the top of the show. It'll be a continuing theme because that is the number one thing and number one takeaway for sure. Steve, thanks for being here. I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
All right, coming up, Trump administration aiming to crack down on big pharma's advertising. How successful could it be? We assess that next.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Thinking about Medicare? Think AMAC. Medicare can be complicated, but AMAC makes it simple. Our licensed agents provide free, unbiased guidance to help you find the plan that best suits your needs. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to Medicare and so much more, think AMAC.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's anti-kibble breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Okay. All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. We thank you for joining us today. It is time now for our health news that is sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope today, the Trump administration cracking down on big pharma advertising. Administration officials reportedly going after misleading drug advertisements. They aim to close a loophole from the 1990s that allows ads to leave out safety risks in ads. HHS and the FDA sent thousands of letters to big pharma companies. The letter said people are not getting the balance of information on the risks of potential treatments. So this is how they are approaching it. This is brilliant. This is effectively going to work as a ban on advertising. And this has been one of the battle cries of the MAHA movement from the very beginning, because we are one of the only countries in the world that allows big pharma to advertise on television. So by elongating and protracting if we really want to make America healthy again, it's going to start at home with each of us, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from their doctors all the time on this network, and you know their products are the gold standards for keeping you healthy. You have the opportunity with them to make sure you're prepared for whatever happens with their series of medical prescription kits. These kits have an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of the meds in the kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products from parasite cleanses to methylene blue, weight loss, so much more. These can help you stay healthy and live a more satisfying and longer life. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Do your part, protect the health of yourself and your family. Go to twc.health/RAV today. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. All right, Washington, D.C. honored RAV's own and Turning Point USA founder, Charlie Kirk, at a prayer vigil last evening. We saw participants like House Speaker Mike Johnson, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., among others. Federal officials say 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is in custody in connection with the assassination. He's reportedly not cooperating with investigators. President Trump did say that Charlie Kirk will be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously. From where I want to bring in historian and author and host of American Minute Radio, Bill Federer. Oh, Bill, you just never thought I'd see you on a day like this. You and I both go way back with Charlie and his family. You look at this from a historical complex. You know, it's interesting. I was watching the Sunday shows this weekend, and one of the older commentators, I should know his name. I'm terrible with names. never get offended if I don't know your name, because I'm terrible. But he was saying, you know, actually, he does remember a time when political assassinations were a thing. We used to have a lot more of them. We haven't had as many recently. give us this whole vision in historical context.
Right. Well, all we have to do is look at Mexico, and almost every election cycle, they have dozens of candidates killed, sometimes while they're walking up the platform to their rally. You know, I first met Charlie in 2014. I was the main speaker at an event in Robinson, Illinois, small town, about 500 people. And I get there and I'm going through my notes before I get up and talk. And there's this young guy talking, and I can't concentrate on my notes. He's talking about the Constitution, free market, capitalism, our faith. And it was Charlie Kirk. And that was 11 years ago. And over the years, one time we became friends through Foster Freeze. He was a conservative billionaire that supported me when I ran for Congress 20 years ago. And you remember that race.
Of course. And I remember Foster very well. God rest his soul as well.
And so Foster would invite me to a pheasant hunt. I mean, I used to hunt when I was a kid with my dad, but this was sort of unique. And they'd have people like, you know, Gary Sinise, because he at a veterans organization, and Ross Perot Jr. talk about flying around the world in his helicopter, and but he'd also have political people, Tucker Carlson, Andrew Breitbart, Neil Patel, and one time it was Charlie Kirk, and we'd sit around the fireplace. It was one of those unique type of things, and Foster would have each person say a little bit, and I'd give a history talk. But Charlie talked about how he was at a convention and he followed Foster up a couple flights of stairs, giving his 2-minute pitch on engaging youth. And Foster says, "I like it. Call my office. They'll cut you a check." And that was the seed money to help Turning Point USA grow exponentially.
Yeah.
And years later, when Foster died, Tucker talked at the memorial. But Charlie and I and my son spent about 2 hours in the car together, driving through the Wyoming mountains. And he's asked me all these history questions, and he was thrilled that he was able to stump me on a question. And he's like, "I stumped Bill Fenner." And but then he
wait,
helped me out.
what was the question? You can't do that to us.
Yeah, but we text back and forth. I mean, I literally have dozens of texts on my cell phone from Charlie texting me scriptures. He texted me one the day before he was shot. It was 1 Corinthians 16:9. "There's wide doors of effective ministry open for me, but there are many adversaries." And I texted a little emoji hand praying, but I should have called him right then. But last week, I spent an entire week with him in Seoul, Korea. Their country is now beginning to lean communist, and the little pastor, Son Hyung Bo, was arrested. His house was raided. He was in the back room saying, "If they arrest you, Pastor, I'm going to call President Trump. I'm going to let everybody in America know. I just have one last event I have to do at a college before I'm going to make this my main issue." And that 2 days after we left, that pastor's in jail. He's sitting in jail right now in South Korea. And Charlie wanted to let the country know about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You talked to my husband about that as well, and I know you all have been working on that. What was the one question that Charlie asked you that you couldn't answer?
To be honest, I don't remember.
You don't remember. You just remember that he stumped you.
But he was genuine. I mean, here's somebody, he's meeting with Vice President Trump, Vice President Vance. He's meeting with all these important people, and he takes time to text a scripture to me. Yeah. And I mean, we, just have sort of he'd say, "Bill, somebody asked a question about John Adams. Help me on this," and I'd give him some of my links to my articles and so forth.
Yeah, well, it is just really something we never thought we would see in this body politic. I knew the left was crazy. I knew we had big, important enemies out there doing crazy things, but I just never thought we'd see a day like this, and it'll be interesting.
You have Erica's picture on there. I'm so proud of Erica for keeping Turning Point going. There's a picture, an AI, somebody did it, of Charlie walking up the stairs to heaven to meet Jesus, and he turns and he's passing the baton to a crowd of young people lifting up their hands. If there's anything that Charlie would want, is for this movement to continue and for there to be thousands, if not millions, of young Charlie Kirks rising up to help save this country and this world.
Well, they're off to a good start. Bill Federer, thank you for being with us. All right, coming up, more action and more reaction coming in after Charlie Kirk's assassination. How was it handled at a rock concert? lots of places we're hearing about this that maybe we wouldn't have thought before. We're going to tell you about this next on American Sunrise.
How many times have you tried to clean a stubborn mess but end up with no success? What you need is the all-new waterproof Ruby Horsepower, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrubber that cleans faster and easier, guaranteed. Watch, baked on oven grease is no match. It easily blasts away dirt and grime in no time. The power comes from our rotating brushes spinning at 350 RPM. The incredible torque fights calcium, soap, mildew, mold, and more. Forget harsh chemicals. With just plain water, Horsepower can clean bathroom tiles and tubs back to their original shine and luster. It's a game changer in the kitchen, where it busts through caked-on crud. Take it outside and tackle tough tasks with ease. How strong is Horsepower? We took this distressed 100-year-old antique and restored it to like new with Horsepower. Amazing! Get your Ruby Horsepower scrubber today with bonus scouring sponge for just $39.99. Save on buying batteries. It's powered with the latest rechargeable technology. But wait, you'll also get this stainless steel brush to make range hoods and gas stoves look brand new again. Yours free. And we're not done. You'll get this Smart Flex cone brush that fits perfectly into corners, tiny crevices on toilets and tiles, or hard to reach shower door rails. Yours free. And to top it off, we'll include this microfiber cloth to clean delicate surfaces and polish cars sparkling clean. It's also free. Great news! Horsepower is now in stock and ready to ship, but due to high demand, there is a strict limit of 2 per order. Order now.
Call 1-800-953-8622. That's 1-800-953-8622 or visit horsepowerscrubber.com. So call 1-800-953-8622 now.
Oh, hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, I was watching myself on television. Following Charlie Kirk's assassination, lawmakers are reacting to the lethal political climate. But, you know, look, the bottom line is there are actions about all of this, and we want to talk about coffee here because you're going to need a lot of energy. But what if your coffee could do more than just wake you up? Rejuvenate coffee is clean. Arabica coffee infused with CA-AKG, a powerful compound studied for its ability to boost cellular energy, support metabolism, and promote healthy aging. Instead of the jitters or the crash you can get from most coffee, this gives you steady, clean focus that lasts. I drink it because it doesn't just fuel my morning, it fuels my health long term. If you're already drinking coffee, why not drink one that actually works with your body, not against it? Head to 1775coffee.com/Rav. Try Rejuvenate coffee now. Don't just wake up, rejuvenate. Now time to send it over to Emily. Emily.
All right, thank you, David. Now that we are caffeinated, it is time to stay awake, not woke. And who was surprisingly not woke today? Coldplay's Chris Martin, who stunned fans at Wembley Stadium over the weekend when he called on the crowd to pray and send love to the family of Charlie Kirk. Martin urged unity, encouraging his fans to lift their hands up to send love around the world. He mentioned Kirk's family by name, saying you can send love to people that you disagree with, but you send them love anyway. Tributes since Kirk's assassination are pouring in from around the world. Take a look at that moment in London at the Coldplay concert.
And so, with that in mind, for the final time for a few years in London, let's raise our hands like this and send love anywhere you want to send it in the world. And there are so many places that might need it today. So here it comes from London. You can send this to your brother or your sister. You can send it to the families of people who've been going through terrible stuff. You can send it to Charlie Kirk's family. You can send it to anybody's family. You can send it to people you disagree with, but you send them love anyway. You can send it to peaceful people in the Middle East, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Azerbaijan, in Sudan, in Somalia, anywhere that you think might need love from London. Here it comes. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, let's bring in Dr. Gina, David, and Terrence to discuss here. Terrence, I want to go to you first. I want to get your reaction to Chris Martin's comments about Charlie's assassination. It was a small comment in a long list of a bunch of people that he thought we needed to send love to. Do you think that he gets credit for mentioning Charlie's name, even if it was part of a long list?
Absolutely. I think anybody with an iota of humanity would be hurting for Charlie Kirk and for Charlie's family, given the way that he was assassinated, given the fact that he was assassinated. It doesn't matter the motivation. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. This is a human being who was gunned down, period. And so, again, quite honestly, should you be getting kudos for being a human, for having an ounce of compassion? I'm glad he has compassion for Charlie. I'm glad he has compassion for places far and wide. But should you get kudos? And again, it's not to poo-poo, his tribute. Okay, great. But anybody with a heart, I think, would have compassion for this situation. And I think he's got a platform in which he showed that compassion. Yeah, it's nice. Am I going to say, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread? No, it just shows that you've got some compassion, David.
That's fine. I mean, I don't disagree, I guess, with that. I mean, it's just, it just seemed like a little bit more, well, I don't know. It's how do I say this? I
Feel
want to
free
be
to
kind,
disagree. If you disagree,
no,
go ahead, Dave.
No, that's
if
fine.
you do,
I mean, the hands in the air, and energy, and send it this way. I mean, it's a bunch of, it's maybe it's heartfelt, I guess, but that's about it. That's fine, Gina.
I kind of tend to agree with you, David. It's, kind of up there with the pray to the universe thing and send love. Yeah. I mean, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. You don't send love. You don't send love. You can do kind acts. That's love. Love is an act. Love is actually an action. It's not a feeling. And we don't send it clairvoyantly. We do it actively. So if you want to actively send love to Charlie's family, then send them a letter about how it impacted you. Join a Turning Point chapter. Just go serve your fellow man. But sending love it's not a thing, Emily. It's not a thing, actually. The sentiment, heartfelt, David and Terrence, I totally agree with you on that. But I really, really hope we can get away from teaching our children that love is a feeling. Love is an action.
Yeah, Gina, I think the opposite.
Oh, yes, Lord. You didn't preach there, Dr. Gina. You said something, I think that is so poignant. Love is an action. It's not a feeling. I think oftentimes we do equate love with, I feel something. No, love is an action. Love is, even though I'm mad at you, I'm still going to hug you. I'm still going to do something for you. Even though I disagree with you, I'm going to listen to you quietly and respectfully disagree. Great point. I'm sorry. I got on my soapbox, but I agree with you there, Dr. Gina. Love is an action.
I think it is time to put love in action. And I think the sad thing is that we've seen the opposite. We've seen evil on the other side through the things that they're saying and the things that they're, the energy that they're sending and the things that they're doing in their actions as well. So it's time for more love all around. All right, still ahead on American Sunrise. It's always important to lean on God during tough times. The Bible history guy, Jim Mosley, joins us as we mourn Charlie Kirk's death. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You push it. You try to slide it. You even try to hold them shut. But your doors just won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Brand new ultra-thin magnetic plates that will keep your doors and drawers shut. And now may be your last chance to get them at a low price. Just peel to reveal the super strong adhesive. Place the monkey, then the magnet, and close. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. So forget drawers that won't stay closed. Every drawer stays closed. It's so fast and so easy. Even large sliding doors or cordless window blinds. Everything stays closed with Monkey Magnets. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet that's powerful attraction keeps your doors and drawers securely shut. These magnets are so strong they can hold this hammer that's nearly 5 pounds. Plus they're super thin. They'll fit just about anywhere, and they stay out of sight. Even screw them in for a more permanent solution. Monkey magnets are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, accordion doors, and more. They're made of ultra-durable metal, so even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Use them anywhere outside the house, even on that stubborn mailbox that won't stay shut. Monkey magnets can stick anywhere, from drywall to all types of wood frames, metal surfaces, and more. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of Monkey magnets for only $9.99. Monkey magnets are guaranteed to last 10 years or your money back. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Monkey magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with Monkey magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810. That's 1-800-519-4810. Call or visit GetMonkeyMagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. Time now for our moment of faith. It's brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It begs the question, what lessons from Scripture should we be remembering in such a time as this? So joining us now with biblical insight, one of our favorite guests, that'd be Jim Mosley. He's the author of The Duke of D.C. and the appropriately titled Discovering Jesus' Disciples. He's also the author of a new book with our own Dr. G called The Days of Creation by Heart, teaching children how God made the world. All of that, of course, we simply like to refer to him around here as the Bible history guy. Jim, great to have you. So look, you spent years studying the parallels between Bible history and our world today. This last week has been rough. What insight can you share with us today? Good morning.
Yeah, it's hard to shake this very sad, deep feeling. Well, you know, the murder of Charlie Kirk shows violence is now just a part of our nation's life. And Trump assassination attempts aren't far behind us either. There's just this dark undercurrent flowing, and it's simmering like a pot on a stove. It's just kind of slowly raising the world's temperature past the boiling point. And there's a sobering thought here. History shows the murder of one man can be the spark that just sets the world ablaze. In 1914, the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand ignited the First World War. One bullet plunged millions into death and reshaped the world for the worse, mostly. So what do we do as Christians in a time like this, when violence feels like the new normal? Well, Jesus said, you'll hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. He also wept over Jerusalem, and he said, the days will come when your enemies will surround you, when you will see Jerusalem encircled by armies. Know her desolation is near. Let those in Judea flee to the mountains, and let those in the country not come into the city. Well, 37 years later, those words came true. Roman legions did besiege Jerusalem. And for a brief moment, the general Titus lifted the siege because he wanted the Passover pilgrims to go inside and strain the city's food supply. And in that small window, the Christians remembered Jesus' words. They left Jerusalem. They escaped across the Jordan to the hill town of Pella. And here's why they did it. They heard the Lord's warning. They remembered the Lord's warning. They took it seriously. When the time came, they acted on it. You know, it must not have been easy for 50,000 Christians in the middle of a war to look at each other and say, hey, now's the time, let's go. But they did it and they survived. And when Jerusalem fell, the temple burned, thousands perished, but those who trusted Jesus were spared. So what's our lesson? Well, our refuge is not in politics and it's not in personalities. It's in Christ. He's our safe place. Whether today's assassinations are false flags or whether they're random acts of evil, the truth always ends up in the same place. We live in a fallen world, but we have a North Star. Like the Christians who fled to Pella, our hope is in following the word of the Lord. Paul reminded us our citizenship is in heaven. He said we seek a better country, a heavenly one. So even as we wade through a world of blood and confusion, we can rally around Jesus and rise as a peaceful but purposeful army in his kingdom. If we follow Christ like those early believers, we can find and create peace and maybe live to see a better world.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for those biblical words of wisdom. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
We're back with the second hour of American Sunrise in 2 minutes. Stick around.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
People are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts just because of their political views. In fact, a conservative billionaire in Washington, who you know very well, was forced to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. If they can debank billionaires for their politics, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? This is why I've always advocated for the one asset that can't be debanked: gold. Click below for a free info kit on gold IRAs from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, while paper currencies and banking systems failed, gold has preserved wealth. Even billionaires are learning this lesson the hard way. Don't wait for your own 20-day notice. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Ahead on the second hour of American Sunrise, celebrating Charlie and his message. Honoring Charlie Kirk at a Kennedy Center prayer vigil in D.C. and celebrating what his life stood for. Real America's Voice host Steve Bannon covered the event live. More than 2,000 packed the hall. Details ahead. Plus, from London to Lima, Charlie Kirk's death doing more than sparking grief. It's igniting a global movement. People across continents rising up, rejecting globalism, gender chaos. They're embracing freedom. We're going to show you. And Charlie Kirk's assassination isn't just uniting his followers, it's turning hearts. They reveal who really stands for tolerance and why Charlie's legacy will not die. It's all ahead as the second hour of American Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics. President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm, T. Bates in Denver. Good morning to both of you. You know, I was struck at one thing, Dr. G. Erica Kirk talking about, as she actually said these words, quote, God is good, is what she said. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't know God who go, wait, what? God is good? Wait, that doesn't compute. But think about this so far. And look, we don't have the answers. We don't know. This is horrible. I mean, let's just be honest. We want Charlie here. And then you look at what God has done so far since this has happened, right? So many more people going to church, seeking God. You've got the Turning Point chapters, 32,000 of them now, or at least inquiries about 32,000 new chapters. They have 3,500 right now, 32,000. And then you look at the fact that the whole world now knows about Charlie Kirk's message of Jesus and biblical truth, whereas before his death, just a portion of Americans only knew. Now the whole world knows. God is stirring, Dr. G.
He really is. It was melancholy. I walked in this morning, and it was the first time where I stopped and looked. There's a green room here in the studio, and sometimes the guys will set it up for Charlie to do his show in there if we have conflicts in this studio and don't have another studio available. So a lot of times Charlie would be in there. It was kind of funny because he's a pretty big guy, and him being in there in that little bitty green room to do his show. And I looked and I thought, literally did this, thought, oh, I wonder if Charlie's going to be here today, because I saw that the light was on. And so it's going to continue. I think one of the things that, at least I know, we just are all experiencing this so differently, but one of the things I'm experiencing is a deeper conviction of all the things that I kind of thought I was doing okay on. And suddenly excellence seems to be called for, seems to be the item of the day. I don't know if you're feeling any of this, Terrence. I just feel like it's so, and then the other thing is I just can't sleep. I can't get that image out of my head. I can't get it out. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And listen, I'm the person that knows how to counsel people with PTSD. But Dr. Heal Thyself, right, Terrence?
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I've had my share of counseling, but one of the things I've learned in counseling from counselors is that sometimes the trauma, other people's trauma, can also impact you as the counselor, and sometimes it's also healthy from the counselor's perspective to talk to someone. Of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk continuing to be a major global story. Utah Governor Spencer Cox saying that the man accused of killing Charlie isn't cooperating.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
The 22-year-old accused assassin remains in custody. Formal charges are expected tomorrow. In the meantime, federal agents are reportedly zeroing in on whether the assassination was part of a broader plot. Investigators now said to be looking at the suspect's network and online footprint. President Trump set to head to Britain for a full royal state visit this week. He'll be the first American president ever invited twice by the British monarch. King Charles will greet President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump with the works. We're talking a royal salute, carriage procession, and a private lunch at Windsor Castle. However, this trip isn't just for show. Sources say a massive U.S.-UK tech partnership may be announced. The deal would reportedly center on AI and cybersecurity. All right, folks, time to get a quick check of your nationwide forecast. Meteorologist Tracy Anthony from our friends over at Weather Nation standing by. Tracy, I like warmer temperatures, and I think you're bringing those in your forecast. Bravo to you.
You know what? I was just going to ask you that. We're about a week away from fall, so are you ready for it?
As ready as I'm going to be. My grass is still a little bit brown, so I guess I'm a little bit more ready for that. A little bit of rain could definitely help it. But I like warm temperatures, as I said. I'm all for the warm temperatures.
Yeah, and we've had record-breaking heat across the Central Plains throughout the last several days with this ridge of high pressure that continues to set up with this blocking pattern. So we're going to slowly start to see this ridge break down, but we're talking St. Louis, 94 degrees, Minneapolis, 86, and Dallas, 94 as well. So this is where that heat is just centrally located for the next couple of days. Now, rainfall-wise, we have some areas that will be dealing with some light rain showers, but areas of the mid-Atlantic and North Carolina in particular have a coastal low that's going to continue to churn and eventually push on shore. And we're talking about rainfall totals even inland, 3 to 5 inches just over the next 24 hours. So they're going to be dealing with some inland flooding, some coastal flooding, and some breezy conditions here over the next day or so as that low just churns. Now, hey, that begs the question, what's going on in the tropics? And we do have one area we're watching in the Atlantic, but it's been relatively calm and quiet. So, Terrence, that's a good thing that we haven't had an overly active hurricane season.
Absolutely, especially for you guys down there in Florida, which typically gets the brunt. Thanks so much, Tracy. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, let's get over to David. David, really the big story is Charlie Kirk. It's going to be the big story all week long with the funeral at this point set for Sunday.
That's right, T. Bates. And the reaction to the actual assassination of Charlie Kirk is on everyone's mind and coming in fast and furious. On Friday, Erica Kirk stood where her husband once spoke, his empty podcast chair beside her. Her words, they were just raw, her faith unbreakable. She declared Charlie's mission will carry on, his name, his cause, his crown in heaven. Take a look.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment.
You know, it was more than a message of grief. It was a call to continue the fight. Millions are asking, is Erica Kirk now the voice of what comes next? Joining us now, the host of Breaking Point here on RAV, David Zier. David, you were at last night's prayer vigil for Charlie. You're there at the Kennedy Center. You know what I found interesting on so many levels with what Erica Kirk was saying, but she, you know, it was the suspect is one person, Tyler Robinson, but she said evildoers, plural, and that they. I mean, there was more than an implication that, the suspect may have pulled the trigger, but there's a lot more people responsible for the hate, violence, and rhetoric going on today against people like Charlie.
Yes, David, like Andy No said, he calls it Trans-Tifa now, and we're going to see how all these things unfold here. And Andrew Couvette said yesterday that Charlie Kirk didn't want blood in the streets. He wanted revival.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. David, from what you're hearing on the ground and even in sort of the inside D.C., Washington whisper campaign, how deeply are they looking at this? I remember initially there were reports talking about some investigations of foreign folks. Is that something that they are looking at? Because I've listened to the most recent couple of days interviews with Kash Patel and others, and I'm kind of hearing that dropped. But I know that John Solomon on this show said that there was some information of some foreign involvement. Do you know anything about that? I just don't want to let it drop.
I do not have any information regarding a wider conspiracy type operation or planning. And this is an ongoing investigation, right? And did Tyler Robinson have any communication with other members of the Antifa type community or any other foreign interest? But no, I do not have any specific information on that.
David, obviously you're there in Washington, D.C. You heard the who's who of Washington, D.C. speak last night at the vigil, which leads me to the question. We hear a lot about the grassroots really being motivated, really being mobilized as a result of Charlie's assassination. But how about the power structure? How about the lawmakers who were there in Washington, D.C.? Yeah, they're saying all the right things, but how about the actions? Are those actions, is the rhetoric turning into action?
Well, Trump asking, I think, for another $58 million for increased security for judicial branch and executive branch members. And as we heard last night, Congressman Andy Biggs, Mike Johnson, Anna Paulina Luna here, it's front and center on their radar. But when you talk about grassroots, this place was packed last night. We had 2,500 plus inside the concert hall. About 1,000 people were turned away. And Terrence, I just wanted to add, this was really encouraging last night because what Charlie built here goes way back, right? I had two young men last night that I interviewed for RAV almost 7 years ago at CPAC here. They're still involved. They're still active. One was a Southeast Florida Turning Point High School chapter chairman, and the other was a very active young man out of Baltimore involved with TPUSA. And these guys are still going. So I think there's a lot of momentum here going forward. And as Dr. Gina pointed out, 32,000 new requests for chapters, and a lot of those are high schools.
David, we have about 30 seconds left. What was the mood inside the hall last night? I mean, obviously so many emotions, right? Anger and sadness and resolve. And, what did you get a sense of the most there? What was the...
And I want to couple with that question, David Brody. Were there Democrats there?
I don't know. I didn't talk to any Democrats, but the mood was tense at first. It was subdued. It was solemn. Once people took their seat, I think it really set in. But last night was a message, again, of revival and of strength. Because once the people shared their stories about their interactions with Charlie Kirk, it was uplifting, and it was an enlightening ceremony here at the Kennedy Center. And speaking of Democrats, the Kennedy Center, named after John F. Kennedy, started construction a year after he was assassinated, another assassination. So this goes across the spectrum. Everybody has to denounce what happened. But yeah, yesterday was very, very moving. And my favorite line of the night was Carrie Lake said, "Don't send your kids to these indoctrination camps," meaning these left-wing colleges. So, but yeah, it was very special, very special. And the people were just great. They came from all over the country. I interviewed people from all over. And it was put together in 48 hours, which was amazing.
Yeah, amazing. That is amazing. We appreciate you. Thank you, David. Appreciate your coverage.
Thank you so much. Yes.
All right. Coming up more on the Charlie Kirk assassination, specifically about some of the crazy people that are saying stuff online, horrible stuff online, and the names and posts of those cheering violence are now being exposed. The details when we come back, everybody.
Hey, just want to say thank you for your service.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you've heard that before, but we want you to know that we understand the freedoms and liberties in this country are because of people like you who served and gave everything for the cause of freedom. We don't take that lightly. So thank you for everything you've done and sacrificed for us.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
We're ready for our ticket.
has been paid.
People thank me for my service all the time. But I want to thank you for being someone
worth fighting for. You make it all worth it. If you really want to thank me and other veterans like me, go to helpdav.org and support disabled American veterans. That is the best way to say thank you and keep our promise to our nation's heroes.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by going to helpdav.org right now, or call the number on your screen and give your monthly support of only $19. Your support lets our disabled veterans know you appreciate them and everything they have sacrificed for us. When you do, we'll send you this DAV blanket as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who served.
When you support DAV, you're showing veterans like me that you were worth fighting for.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support in this moment honors our veteran service.
A live look at the White House, where emotions, of course, are probably still raw following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It is the big story of the day, and we, of course, will continue to cover it for you. Meantime, if you're stressed about back taxes, maybe you missed the April deadline, or your books are a mess, well, you definitely don't want to wait. The IRS is cracking down. We're talking penalties that add up fast, 5% per month, up to 25% just for not filing. There is help, though, and it comes in the name of Tax Network USA. They can take the burden off of your shoulders and stop the spiral before it gets worse. They've helped thousands of Americans, whether you're an employee, a small business owner, or if you haven't filed in years. If you've got messy books, none of that is a problem. They've seen it all, and they know exactly how to clean it up for you. With direct access to powerful IRS programs and expert negotiators on your side, Tax Network USA knows how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and if you qualify, they may even be able to reduce or eliminate what you owe. More importantly, they'll help protect you from wage garnishments or bank levies. So don't wait for the next IRS letter. Instead, call 800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV to talk to a real expert at Tax Network USA. Take the pressure off and let Tax Network USA handle your tax issues for you. TaxNetworkUSA.com/RAV. All right, let's get you over to Emily Finn, not to be mistaken with Huckleberry Finn or Huckleberry Flynn. I'll be your Huckleberry, Emily. Good morning.
You're talking about my cousin, Huckleberry, Terrence.
Yeah, your cousin Huckleberry.
Too funny.
I've been waiting for literally 3 weeks, and I was like, you know what? Today I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm saying it.
I like it. I like it. The joke landed, Terrence. Thank you very much. But it is time to drain the swamp now. And this morning we are fleshing out, not Huckleberry Finn, all of the deranged liberals who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. Federal agencies are cracking down hard, warning employees who criticize or mock Charlie Kirk they are going to be fired. The Trump administration says it is tracking very closely social media posts that suggest that Kirk should not be mourned, with a zero-tolerance stance from government departments. Employees have already been placed on leave or disciplined for individual posts, with Homeland Security already taking action against at least 3 workers. Several other agencies have followed suit as well. In the meantime, a U.S. Marine has been fired after making a post calling Charlie Kirk a racist man who was popped, sparking outrage all across conservative media. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and a Pentagon spokesperson both insist that the department has zero tolerance for celebrating or mocking Kirk's death. Right-wing influencers and Trump-allied voices have called for firings and accountability, reinforcing that celebrating the death of a conservative icon is simply unacceptable. Hegseth honored Kirk as a Christ follower and American patriot, comparing him to 9/11 heroes, saying his legacy will never be forgotten. And it's not just Washington. Corporate America is following suit, too. Microsoft, Delta, NASDAQ, all purging staff who mocked Charlie Kirk's death. Those celebrating are going to be outed. The tables have officially turned. We want to know what you think, our viewers. Let us know on Rumble or Getter. Hop on and let your voice be heard. Coming up, we're headed down to Wall Street for the opening bell and insight into how to hold on to your hard-earned dollars with some common sense. We'll be back with more American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick around.
Hello, friends. Pat Boone here with a message
from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
This is Navy Pier in my hometown of Chicago. Of course, also Charlie Kirk's hometown. He's not directly from Chicago, but he's a Chicagoan in general. And so this is one of the great places in our fair city there in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome back, everyone. We're getting you ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It is set to ring here in about 6 minutes or so. As you can see from our big board here, all the major indices, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are up in the green in pre-market trading. We'll get a sense of how things are looking the moment markets open here in just a little bit. Again, we'll take it to the New York Stock Exchange for the opening bell in short order. But first, let's get you over to David. David, the shine is off. You look great, my friend. Good morning.
Good morning, T-Bates. Appreciate it. Now time for our daily dose of dollars and common sense with American Sunrise Early Edition host, the guy behind Jake's Takes Substack. That'd be Jake Novak. Jake, so I thought America was headed off the economic cliff. I mean, that's what those economic geniuses at CNN told us last week. But Wall Street is putting its money on some other outcome. Tell us more. Good morning.
Yeah, we're going to open this morning at all-time highs on the NASDAQ, close to all-time highs on the S&P 500 and the Dow. Now, there are some people, David, saying, well, this is because the market's been rooting for bad news for the economy. Bad news for the economy means that there's a better chance that the Fed will cut rates, and that's what the markets want. Listen, there's a little bit of truth to that, but look, profits are the mother's milk of the stock market, and American companies are making profits. That's what's going on right now. Again, there's always another recession coming, but I don't want to be one of those guys who gets introduced on your program as, here's Jake Novak, who's predicted 7 of the last 2 recessions, right? I don't want to be that guy. So just understand how the economy is always in flux, but it is not in the doomsday place that the mainstream media wants us to believe it is.
No, we'll take your word on that. Speaking of CNN, Jake, there are reports that CNN parent Warner Brothers could be bought. What's going on there?
Yeah, this is a huge story in the media space, which understandably has been going under the radar because of the big news of the last several days. But here's how it goes. David Ellison, who just bought Paramount, the parent company of CBS, and now it's called Paramount Skydance, well, he's worth tens of billions of dollars more than he was just a week ago because his father's company, Oracle, shot up 30% last week. And now he's flush with billions of dollars worth of new cash, and he wants to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. That's the company that, of course, owns all the Warner Brothers studios and a lot of channels, but it includes CNN. So let's talk about the news business here. David, on social media and on my program here on Real America's Voice for about a year, I've been predicting that by the end of 2025, CNN would not exist in its current form. Now we see how that is likely to happen. When I worked at CNN many, many years ago, we were always close to merging with CBS. Well, now I think this is going to happen if this deal goes through, and I can't imagine anyone outbidding David Ellison for Warner Brothers. He's going to fold whatever is left of CNN into whatever is left of CBS News. The CNN name will probably exist on streaming and maybe some documentaries. This is how it's going to work, and it makes a lot of sense now, I think.
Wait, so you're saying CNN would go away on like television, stuff like that? Is that your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what they'll use those channels for is some other content. They may call it CBS CNN. They may try something like that. Remember, CBS has an online-only 24-hour news service. I forgot what it's called. Don't look it up. It's not worth watching. But you get my point. There will be some kind of a consolidation, and the value of its cable channel and that where it comes in on your TV directory is going to be very valuable. I think they'll sell that off, or they'll use it for something. Remember, Ellison wants CBS Paramount to be all about the NFL, and I think they'll use it for more NFL content, if I had to guess.
Yeah, well, actually, it makes a lot of sense. Finally, Jake, I guess you have the story for us about, shall we say, special rules for China in Europe. What's going on there?
I mean, this is the craziest story I've ever heard. There's a Chinese EV called the MG3. This is the name of a car that China makes. Now, in European EU safety testing, for the first time ever, there was a failure, a common failure in this car on something little, like the driver's side seatbelt wasn't working. The crash test dummies were flying through the windshield. Just an incredible failure in that car. And yet the EU, David, still gave it 4 stars as a safety rating. I'm sorry, folks. This is a corrupt situation through and through. You don't have to be a genius to see that. All I can say is don't buy that car. I mean, that's easy advice for me. But the more important lesson we learn right now is that China gets special treatment through their influence, through their money, and you got to be very careful with their products, especially cars. End of story.
That is a great, that's a wild story, and Exhibit A in the China preferential treatment. Jake Novak, good to have you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, time for tea in Denver. That would be T. Bates. The opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
We're getting you ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. You're going to hear the applause here in short order, then the bell will ring, and we'll get an idea of where the markets stand. Literally, within the last 6 minutes, things have changed in pre-market trading. You can see the Dow and the S&P 500 are now down. When we talked about 6 minutes ago, right before we went to David, they were in the green. The NASDAQ is in the green right now, which is good news, and the rest of the board also in the green. Again, that's pre-market trading. As I promised, you hear the applause here. The Deutsche Bank is at the podium, so that means that the bell is going to ring here in just a little bit. That's, of course, the German bank, but they, I guess, are a publicly traded stock, or at least they definitely have offices in Manhattan on Wall Street. So they are there at the podium opening the markets today, and they're doing so in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, as you see there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the markets are now officially open, and once again showing us just how quickly things are changing. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are all now back in the green. You may remember literally a minute ago in pre-market trading before the markets officially opened, the top 2 indices were in the red, and now they're back in the green, as is the rest of our board. So this very well may be an indication that it's going to be an up and down day. Hopefully it will end up, and if you're investing, you'll have done well today. When inflation jumps and when you hear the national debt is over $37 trillion, do you ever think, well, maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold? Whether as a hedge against inflation, peace of mind, or during global instability, or if it's just for sensible diversification, the Birch Gold Group believes that every American should own physical gold. That's why they've created something special. Until the end of this month, September 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, the Birch Gold Group is offering a rebate, of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and to start the process, simply request an information kit now. You can do so by texting the word America to the number 989898. Plus, the Birch Gold Group can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you're still eligible for a rebate in free metals of up to $10,000. The Birch Gold Group is the only precious metals company so many Americans trust, as do their tens of thousands of customers. Make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate of up to $10,000 when you buy by September 30th. Again, to get the free information kit, simply text the word America to the number 989898. Up next, we're going to set our sights on Washington as we get the very latest on the White House, President Trump, and reaction to Charlie Kirk's death. All of that when American Sunrise returns.
If we've learned anything over the past few years, it's that devastating events can strike without warning. Global pandemics, acts of terror, and even bank collapses that can cause chaos in a matter of moments. And I just want you to be prepared. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and it's for these reasons that I strongly recommend a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has protected wealth through every kind of crisis. Birch Gold can show you how to move your retirement savings into an IRA in gold, legally and tax-free. For decades, they've helped thousands of Americans protect their IRA or 401k from unexpected events. To learn more, click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group, the only gold company I trust. Don't wait for the next crisis to strike. Take action now to protect your family's financial future. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group.
If your flow doesn't go like it used to, if it's pee o'clock again, it could be an enlarged prostate blocking the way. The Urolift system is a minimally invasive, non-destructive treatment for men 45 and over that simply lifts the problem out of the way. Ask your urologist about the Urolift system. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. The Urolift system for rapid symptom relief.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop in our conversation on YouTube, Getter, and Rumble. It is time now to take the political pulse of America. The beat today, the White House, of course, in agony after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a key MAGA ally and friend to all of MAGA and President Trump's team as well. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles spoke to her team regarding Kirk's assassination. Many there knew Charlie personally and considered him family. At just 31, he was more than a conservative influencer. He was central to the MAGA movement and those close, those leading the White House. Trump and his aides mourn a true patriot who inspired a generation of Americans fighting for freedom and values. For further discussion, let's welcome to American Sunrise RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glynn. Brian, I can only imagine on Capitol Hill, it's just almost hard to conduct the daily, ordinary business. I mean, it's hard for us here because we're, very used to interacting with Charlie here at RAV as one of our own. But some of the people on Capitol Hill, some of the Congress people and whatever, he was a great inspiration to and a great source of support. There are more people that have sent me screenshots of scripture that Charlie sent to them personally over his lifetime than I can count. And my children have been very inspired by this as well, as you can imagine. And that's ranging from my millennial daughter all the way down to my Gen Z sons. And so this is something that really is permeating our society. But I'm wishing I were hearing more from Democrats, because political assassination is not a partisan issue. And I would like to hear if you're hearing anything from Democrats.
Well, good morning. I spent most of the weekend on a college campus in Texas visiting my son, so I had a lot of time I spent with college students over at Texas Tech talking about this, the influence on them. I also was on the plane with Pam Bondi and RFK Jr. when this news broke, so I had a chance to kind of observe how they were taking it. But let me tell you how Democrats are taking it right now. Not only are they vocalizing, Ilhan Omar has been very public about criticizing Charlie Kirk, but they had over the weekend a virtual security phone call with their members to talk about how they need to move forward with this ongoing threat to, I guess, their safety, when it seems like everyone that's really lashed out against any conservatives have been from their base. But apparently they're interested in increasing the security. Now, on the flip side, Dr. Gina, I've heard of no conversations right now, as of right now, on how to make conservative lawmakers, not only President Trump behind us, but also on Capitol Hill and in the Senate, safer. What can we do to make sure we protect ourselves out in public? I asked President Trump that the other day when he was off on Marine One. Do you have any advice? He says, hey, be strong, have no fear, which the Bible does tell us to have, Dr. Gina. We all know that. But we live in a very different world. And if I could, for just 1 second, people ask me, Brian, can this country be saved? And I got to be very truthful. I think we're so far gone politically. We're so separated between good and evil. It's going to take more than just this, strong policies. We need a complete, Capitol Hill needs to be filled with Donald J. Trumps, because we have so many weak men in the Republican Party that have allowed leftist Marxism, this demonic movement, to get in every facet of our society. Schools, education, military, all these things they've slowly pushed us to the point now, Dr. Gina, I don't know where we go from here. And I have nothing in common with anybody on the left that celebrates the death of Charlie Kirk. I don't have anything in common with them. They obviously don't believe in God. That's the fundamental start to all of this conversation. So I want nothing to do with them. I don't want to come together. I don't want to find common ground. I don't want to get along. Let's just move together. I don't want that. So to go back to original statement, it is very difficult times here in Washington, D.C. dealing with all of this.
Yeah. Good and evil cannot find unity is the bottom line. Good and evil cannot find unity.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, Brian, the vice president's going to host the Charlie Kirk show today. What a huge deal. It'll be right here on Real America's Voice. We are involved in all of the production of it. Talk to us about what you know, sir.
Yeah, what an honor this network has involved with this very special edition with Vice President J.D. Vance. As we know, J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk were close friends. They traveled together to Utah with his wife, second lady, to pick up the body and bring it back. It's a very special moment. I think it's going to be something that we can all look forward to, and perhaps I want to see unity in our party to fight this evil, David. I don't want in-party bickering. I don't think it helps the cause at all. But what a great moment today. Looking forward to it right here on Real America's Voice. And I'm very proud of all the production. Look, while I was on a college campus this weekend and I had a trip planned to see my son, I got to do that. I'm so proud of this network and the resources they put together to cover this thing last night from top to bottom, as good as you can get it. Very proud, David, of this network right now in this very difficult time, which he was so close to all of us. And for us to put some of that grievance aside, or grieving and going over and trying to heal and still do your professional job is something to be applauded.
Brian, it strikes me that you say you want to see unity among Republicans as a result of all of this. The reality is there is still work to be done. And yes, we are all mourning. There's a lot of hurt. There's this fog, if you will, probably over Capitol Hill, over Washington in general, but there's still work to be done. 16 days from now, or really, I guess 15 days from now, something has got to give as it relates to the budget, as it relates to those various spending bills. Otherwise, there might be a shutdown. Has what happened with Charlie Kirk slowed that process, or are you hearing that the work is still happening? Maybe a little slower, maybe a little heavier, but it's still happening.
The work is still happening, and I just found out, just literally walking into the White House today, that there is a potential budget allocated for security concerns amongst House, not only leaders, but then House members as well. That might be a different aspect factored into this CR that is obviously proposed to, I think, go to the end of November. So we'll see. And I think they're going to vote on this week, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But it's certainly back to business. But I'll go back to this, Terrence. You know, we've got a lot of men and women who claim to be, strong spiritual leaders. They claim to stand up for God and stand for Jesus and try to walk in His light and try to make a change in the world. But when they're in a position of power to actually legislatively do that, they don't. And so that's why I don't have a lot of faith in our government to, quote, save this country. It's going to happen just like it did yesterday in churches around this country, where we saw record-breaking attendance. This spiritual awakening is happening. We just need our elected members in Congress, Senate, and for the most part, our president, keep supporting him. We need them to take strong, bold action and push against anything that threatens this country and our personal safety.
Absolutely. Brian Glenn, keep us posted on all of that. And let's all remember to also pray for each other and for our audience, because I think it's not just hard on those who are there on Capitol Hill or those who knew him here at RAV. It is hard, I think, for a lot of people who just see this as such an American tragedy that they can't get out of their heads for whatever reason. Thank you, Brian.
Agreed.
God bless.
Thanks,
all right.
Thank you.
I'm going to send it over to Emily.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Gina. Charlie Kirk's brutal and senseless assassination is a tragic wake-up call to end all political violence. An eyewitness to his world-shaking killing on that horrible day joins us now. He was front row, cameras rolling, and then chaos. This wasn't just a moment in his life, it was a moment in history. Joining us now is Logan Jackson. Logan is a student at Brigham Young University and was in the crowd at Utah Valley University the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. Logan, thank you so much for joining American Sunrise. Really appreciate you taking the time to wake up early with us and share more about your experience that day. I mean, seeing the videos circulating online was just heartbreaking. It was gut-wrenching, absolutely horrific. I can't imagine what it was like actually being there. First of all, before we dive into anything else, how are you holding up?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of emotions. There's anger, there's sadness, there's worry, and there's so much. But as I've gone through this journey and as I've drawn closer to Christ, I find myself filled with a newfound appreciation for life, because it could end at any moment, and just filled with the love of God.
Yeah, you have to find some kind of positive in such a dark moment like this, Logan. I totally hear what you're saying. You know, the video that we have been showing on our screen was actually from your point of view 10 minutes before Charlie was killed. So walk us through your experience that day, those moments before and after the shooting. Tell us what it was like from your perspective.
Well, I was very excited to be there. I got there an hour early just to make sure I got a good seat. And so I go up and I'm 30 feet away from him. And, you know, I'm just doing the basic stuff. I'm doing my homework. I'm talking to the people around me. The energy in the crowd is so infectious. There's so much excitement for this. And then he comes out and it's like you see a legend that, you know, we've only seen on the screen before. And then he starts throwing out hats. The guy to my left caught one, the guy behind me. I think a guy hit me in the face while trying to catch one, so that was fun. But I was surprised by how much genuine wholesomeness and excitement Charlie had. You'd think after hundreds of these events that, it's not new anymore, but he was so present. And then he starts asking the questions, and he speaks to the crowd. And we're the second question in, maybe 15 minutes into the event, when I hear a gunshot.
Yeah.
It's a loud noise, and I knew exactly what that was. And I'm looking right at him, and I see the blood come out of his neck. I see him collapse. And, well, what do you do in an event like that? I collapsed to the ground. You don't know if you're going to be next.
It's just absolute chaos in that moment. You have to run and hide or try to help others around you. I can't even imagine. And this has had such a profound impact on so many people. I mean, tens of thousands of young people like you and I all across the country. They're now reaching out to TPUSA. Upwards of 30,000 new chapters could be started in high schools and colleges all around the country in Charlie's honor. Yet at the same time, we're seeing awful posts on social media from those on the left celebrating his assassination, celebrating that horrible moment that you had to witness. What are you hearing from other students about this horrible tragedy? Do you think that this has pulled students together or exposed more polarity?
It's done both at the same time. I know I went to the school the next day and went to my classes, that everything was a buzz. Everyone was talking about it. In Utah, I mean, we live in such a bubble. It was always so safe. And suddenly that's gone, that's ripped away. But I mean, people aren't that open in person. But I've been sharing my experience online, and it's reached, at this point, millions of people. And I've had floods of comments that are so supportive from all across, human life. There's people of all ages, of every race, different sexualities, all across the political spectrum. I've had conservatives reach out. I've had liberals. I've had communists. I've had fundamentalists, and even people from different countries, all coming together and uniting.
Yeah, it certainly had an international impact. Logan Jackson, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today. We will continue to pray for you and everyone that's been impacted by Charlie Kirk's assassination, especially the Kirk family. Thank you again, Logan. We'll be back with more on American Sunrise in just a few moments. Stay with us.
Hey there, how are you? I'm with Disabled American Veterans. I was wondering if you had a quick minute to thank America's veterans for their service and sacrifices.
Of course, why not?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Sure.
All right, hey, well, come on in here. I'm just gonna hit record on this.
I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't even think of the words to say of how grateful I am.
I just want to tell you guys how much you appreciate it.
But most importantly, I want to thank you for your courage and bravery.
Wow. Just thank you.
Someone here who'd like to say something to you.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome.
Someone has something they want to say to you.
Goodness.
How's it going?
Oh. So I just want to let you know how much you appreciate it. How much you appreciate it.
I just feel honored for everything you've done.
Thank you for myself. Thank you for everybody.
I get to live every day, in peace because of you.
A lot of people thank us, but we want to take the time to thank you, honestly, for giving back. And when you give to DAV, you are supporting veterans like Dave, myself. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by calling the number on your screen right now and giving your monthly support of only $19.
Say thank you by going to helpdav.org right now and give just $19 a month. When you do, we'll send you this DAV t-shirt as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who serve.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support says thank you to our nation's disabled American veterans.
Let's spill some tea.
All right, let's spill some tea. It's fueled by Artillery Tea Co., the only the only America first veteran-owned tea brand. Their mission is to maximize flavor with whole leaf blends and chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. Here's the tactical advantage. Each bag brews twice. So just go to artilleryteaco.com and use the code PAYLOAD for 15% off. Once again, artilleryteaco.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, brewed for the brave. All right, let's move on. It's time now to spill some tea. And in the cup today, you guys at home that join us every day in our chat rooms on Getter, Rumble, and of course YouTube. So if you aren't logging into the show, you really are missing out on a lot. The chat very active because it's called Real America's Voice. That means it's your voice. We want to welcome now to American Sunrise Carefree Largo, a member of the Rav family. Carefree, always good to see you. You always got a smile on your face. It's been harder in the last week for sure with what's been going on. What has been going on in the chat this morning? Good morning, my brother.
Well, good morning to you, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here. The chat has been somewhat somber the last few days. Yes. You know, for me, David, going back a little bit, you know, it was September 12th. That was really the day that was etched into my brain, and still is, I guess, on many levels, because that was the day for me the world changed. It wasn't my city, it wasn't my state, it wasn't my nation, it was the entire planet had changed. It had been plunged into a confusion, a befuddlement of chaos and terror. And then here we are 24 years later, and these United States, under the great leadership of a duly elected president, has put America first and begun to be on the offensive where terror is concerned, everywhere it's concerned, out on the oceans, chasing drug dealers, and because of the tragic events of last week, now in our mass transit systems, and many events in our mass transit systems have brought that to be. And then, of course, with the killing of Charlie Kirk, now we'll be looking more and more into events on college campuses. But one thing is for certain, they're going to learn, they're going to adjust, they're going to improve, they're going to work in a proactive nature to return the pursuit of life and liberty and justice to the American people, albeit happiness may take just a moment longer.
Amen. Tell us what some of the folks in the chat are saying. Well, Carefree.
Melanie Collier says, know that I'm praying for each of you at RAV, as many of us are. May God wrap you in his loving arms of peace. And I second that. Amen to that. Cat Turd fan, one of my favorites, says, stand strong. We're going to win. Even if we are on our own and all alone, God is with us. And again, amen to that. No words more true. Pro speech in the chat offered up. My heart is totally broken. There are no words to express the sorrow, and Charlie Kirk will live forever. And I think you can see with the expansion of the Turning Point chapters already that he certainly is going to live forever. There's also Mr. O2 Spider said Charlie was a threat to their establishment. USS Malik says it's time for all of us to take the responsibility of picking up Charlie's mantle and moving forward.
Yep. Yeah.
You can't deny that. That is exactly what each and every one of us tried to do.
Thank you, Carefree. Appreciate it. Keep that smile going as much as you can. You know, I've read how it ends. I've read the ending. Evil does not triumph. The Bible is good. God is good. Carefree, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And remember, you're never completely dressed until you put on a smile.
That's correct. We are back in a moment, everybody.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America. But every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
Yikes, leaky refrigerator coil card. Oh no. But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered home systems. Don't worry, be warranty.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is time now for our Sunny Side Up and in the Pan today. Charities rise up for Charlie. According to published reports, nearly $3 million has already been raised to support Erica Kirk and her 2 young children. The fundraiser on Give, Send, Go took off within hours of Charlie's assassination. And Turning Point USA says they've received 18,000 new chapter requests in less than 24 hours. You guys do that math.